Kaguongo.
All right, and Mike, before we let you go, I think he can take one question or so. Maybe have you identified any sign of objection or a candidate planning to challenge that result? Because you already know that Mbeere North has been a very hotly contested constituency, and as you said, that win wasn't a big margin. So maybe you can tell us more about that.
Naam, kweli alikuwa hapa Newton Karish muda mfupi uliopita, takriban dakika 30 hivi kabla ya shughuli nzima ya kuhesabu na kujumulisha zile kura kutamatika. Alikuwa hapa, amekaa hapa takriban kuanzia mida ya saa 6 hivi, kura zote zikiweza kujumuishwa. Alikuwa ameketi hapa anafuatilia kwa upole, lakini wakati ambapo vituo vilielekea kutamatika, ndipo labda aliona, na wakati ule alikuwa anaongoza, manake aliongoza kwa muda fulani akiwa na kura 13,000, akiwa na 12,000, 13,000, kisha alipofika 14,000 bila shaka Leo wa Muthende akaanza kuongoza. Na Leo wa Muthende alipoanza kuongoza yeye akaondoka, manake ni kana kwamba alifahamu fika kwamba huenda basi kuna maeneo ambayo yamesalia ni maeneo ambayo yanadhibitiwa kwa karibu sana na mpinzani wake Leo wa Muthende, kisha akaweza kuondoka yeye na wale maafisa ambao alikuwa ameweza kufika hapa nao, japo hakutufahamisha iwapo atakuwa anapinga uamuzi huu ama shughuli hii nzima ama matokeo haya ya IEBC, au atakuwa anafanya kazi na Leo wa Muthende, japo ni swala ambalo tutakuwa tunapiga kukuru kakara za kwetu kuanzia sasa tuweze kumtafuta, tufahamishe wasia wake upi. Je, ataweza kupinga matokeo ambayo yameweza kutangazwa sasa hivi? Manake mchana kuto kwenye shughuli nzima hii ya upigaji kura tulishuhudia baadhi ya viongozi wa upinzani wakidadisi kwamba kulikuwa kulikuwa na matamshi ambayo anaitwa nani? Justin Muturi alisema kwamba kulikuwa na tetesi za kuiba kura. Manake kulikuwa na tetesi za kuwahonga wapiga kura katika kituo kimoja cha kupigia kura cha hapa Chicago Social Hall, na vile vile kuna vituo mbalimbali. Kuna kituo vile vile alichopigia kura mbunge wa eneo hili wa Kitambo Geoffrey Ruku, ambacho kilionekana kuwa kana kwamba kilikuwa na vurugu baadaye jioni, na kisha zikaweza kutulizwa na maafisa wa usalama. Je, wanadhani kwamba vurugu hizo zilizua hadi kawa kwamba kuna kura ziliibiwa, ama kuna wanadhibitisha vipi kwamba kura ziliweza kuibiwa, ama wakazi ama wapiga kura waliweza kuhongwa ili kupiga kura kwa mujibu wa yule ambaye ni Leo wa Muthende? Basi tutakuwa tunaandamana na wenzangu tuweze kujua kana kwamba bila shaka wataweza kupinga uamuzi huu ama wataweza kukubaliana nao. Manake upande wa UDA hapo jana tulipozungumza nao walisema kwamba wako tayari kusimama na uamuzi wowote wa wananchi, iwapo wataweza kushindwa, iwapo wataweza kushinda, bila shaka walikuwa wakubali. Hilo ni swala ambalo mwaniaji wa UDA Leo wa Muthende alikuwa amekubali kutekeleza, japo upande wa Newton Karish ambaye aliondoka kabla ya shughuli hii nzima kuweza kutamatika, hatukujua kama atakubali iwapo atashindwa. Kwa hiyo tutaandamana tuweze kumtafuta atujuze swala ama atakuwa anachukua wajibu gani baada ya matokeo haya. Anodida.
Kazi safi, kazi kunte. Asante sana Mike Kaguongo, umekuwa ukipiga kambi hapo Mbeere North, na bila shaka tungependa kusikia mawazo ya Karish Leo na Muthende. Of course tutafollow nawe tuarifu and to update us on that as well. So that is what we eagerly await to hear from. But also we want just to find out and hear how the declaration was earlier from the IEBC.
the declaration of member of National Assembly election results at the constituency tallying center. Name of the constituency, Bere North, code number 066. The results are as follows. Name of the candidate, Lawrence Mwaneki Ireri, 113 votes. Duncan Ireri Mboe, 2,480. Isaac Giri Muringi, 84 votes. Newton Karaoke Duiga garnered 15,308 votes. Albert Muremi Ngare garnered 36 votes. Daniel Ireri Ngare garnered 78 votes. Leo wa Mudende Jero garnered 15,802. Ruben Moridi Jero garnered 28 votes, while Simon Mwaura Waiharo garnered 18 votes. The total number of registered voters for Bere North constituency is 55,124. Total number of voters who turned out to vote were 34,134. Therefore, the percentage of voter turnout was 61.92%. Therefore, the powers granted by the commission, and we have our chairman, commissioner there and the CEO, we want to declare that Honorable Leo Wamudende Jero has duly been elected as the member of the National Assembly for Bere North constituency. Now, we want now to read the certificate and give to the winner. Maybe give him space. Mheshimiwa, karibu. Yeah. Certificate of elected member of National Assembly. The constituency returning officer hereby declares that Jero Leo Wamudende of ID number 22020809 has been duly elected as a member of the National Assembly for Bere North constituency in the election held on 27th day of November 2025. The constituency returning officer, John Kenywa of the indicated signature, dated this 28th day of November 2025.
County, all present, the CEO IEBC. I'm really overjoyed. I don't think it can show because it's been a very long day. I want to take this opportunity. First, I thank God. I thank all my supporters. I thank them for their support and prayers mostly because it was tough. As you can see, it was a hotly contested race, and it's only through God that we've made it this far. I also want to thank UDA, my party, for the support, all the security team, the IEBC for conducting a fair election, and I want to thank most of all the people of Bere North. Whichever side they chose, I am now the member of National Assembly. I have made commitments not only to those who elected me, but to all residents of Bere North. I will be fair. I will discharge my duties without any discrimination. I will meet all my pledges. I remember mentioning on fair distribution of bursaries, a free secondary education for day scholars, and development, that is electricity, water, and also roads. I will remain committed to serving the people of Bere North, and more so to ensure the steps, you know, the commitments made, the progress made by the former member of National Assembly, whatever project that is underway, I will endeavor to complete it as I even start more projects. I thank everyone present here for burning the midnight oil to ensure this process is fair and free, and I look forward to serving residents of Bere North as their member of National Assembly. Thank you so much. Yeah. Eh? Oh. Fire, see fire.
Victory is indeed sweet, as you can see there from the reactions we're having from Wamuthende. That is Mbeere North, where Mike Kagwengo is still on standby, and of course, as he's told us, we'll be back to that particular constituency, so we can get more reaction.
Just hang on. Slow your roll. I think we need to also just talk about what we just saw. That is the earlier declaration there by the IBC, and we had from Wamuthende himself, soaking up the spotlight, of course, in a celebratory mode there, and it was very pivotal that now they immortalized that particular moment by, of course, lining up all the people who were actively participating in Mbeere North. And one person is, of course, the Deputy President, as you saw him there, and of course, the former incumbent Member of Parliament there, that is now the Cabinet Secretary of Public Service. This is Geoffrey Ruku. And this has been intense for you, and also a sigh of relief for the Deputy President, because as we saw it, even the cartoonist, right, who normally, of course, give us their daily tonic of laughter and levity, just showed that it was an arm wrestle between the DCP party with the former Deputy President and, of course, also with the UDA party. And very contentious it has been, whether there are legal minefields that will be erupting from this particular win is yet to be seen. Remember the name issue that really came to the fore, and of course the ominous cloud of corruption that was hanging around Mbeere North. So is he squeaky clean? Is he still out of the woods yet, I should say? Yeah, that is yet to be seen. So we eagerly wait to see how that will be panning out as well. Yeah, just as you said before, I slowed your roll.
Yes, and of course, like you've said, we'll be back to Mbeere North to bring in Mike Kagwengo. We're looking forward to hearing from Karish as well as, of course, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, if this is a win that is going to be challenged, as you've alluded to.
So they're saying also, the Deputy President has somewhat secured his job, right? So this was a make or break for him.
Yes.
Yeah, moving forward. Yes.
And it's just right to mention that Mbeere North has recorded the highest percentage of voter turnout, as we've heard from Mike Kagwengo. That was about 69.2%. We've already heard from other constituencies that voter turnout wasn't that good. It was a bit low. So 69.2% for Mbeere is a good number. About from the 55,124 voters that were registered, about 33 voted yesterday, 33,000. And it's just right for us to mention some of the candidates who also, were on the ballot alongside Wamuthende and Karish. So that, yesterday I had one of your panelists saying that we as the media, we make it look like a two-horse race, right? As you've already seen, this there was about Leo Wamuthende and Newton Kariuki, but we also had Dan Kanireri Mbui of Chama cha Kazi, Daniel Ngari of Kenya Moja Movement, Lawrence Mwaniki, Safina Party, Albert Murimi of the National Vision Party, Ruben Murithi of Alliance for Change, Simon Moura, Umoja wa Maendeleo, and of course Isaac Ngiri Muringi of the United Progressive Alliance. So a total of 9 candidates faced off for the Mbeere North constituency seat.
Right, we want now to cross over to Malava. That has been also one of a very, very tense constituency as far as the parties are concerned. And just as you've alluded to, talking about the two-horse race between UDA and DAB Kenya. Momentarily, we'll be beaming those pictures just to show you the final ends. There you are on the split screen, what is happening currently. We're eagerly awaiting also to just get pronouncements there, and of course also to hear some victory speeches, so to speak, of the winner. And the last time we saw it, David Indakwa was actually head of Seth Panyako of DAP Kenya, and David Indakwa, of course, of UDA. And you remember yesterday, he seemed very calm. Cool, calm, and collected. And he said, this is the embodiment of a leader, right? You just relax. And he says, humility is the epitome of leadership. This is what Indako was saying yesterday. So we eagerly wait to see also, will he be still poised and relaxed? That was a posture that came across yesterday. And we want to hear also what Seth Panyako will be saying as well. Remember, there were also skirmishes in Malava. We saw also issues that were being raised regarding some of the leaders, that the security personnel were withdrawn. We're talking about Governor Natembeya. Of course, we're talking about also Senator Boni Khalwale, whose security personnel were withdrawn the day before yesterday, and also yesterday. So that also has been a very contentious area. So any moment from now, we shall be also just hearing from our reporter on the ground down there to just give us an update. Maybe you can also just fill us in on some of the other candidates that were running, since we're saying, oh, we are spotlighting only 2 people. Yeah, who are the other guys who were also on in the running, I should say.
They're telling us we have bad manners. Like, we are changing for the better. And you know, as you've said, my lover was hotly contested, and we are ready for surprises. We saw drama from all the Seth Panyako side as well. You know, you've talked about David Ndakwa being so calm yesterday.
Yes.
But if you've seen videos that are going on around social media, and even the ones that we aired here, there wasn't calm. So will
himself?
Panyako. Panyako himself. We have videos of him, you know, crying yesterday on air. So are we going to see a calm after this storm that we saw yesterday? So we can as well note that registered voters in Malava are 94,447. And we'll be joining our colleague Apollo Kamau to tell us the voter turnout, how it was, what the percentage was, because 94,000 is a huge number, and we do know that returning officers are talking about voter apathy in this by-election. Candidates that contested for the Malava by-election seat were 9 who were cleared by the IPC: Seth Panyako of DAP-K, David Ndakwa of UDA, and of course we have Edgar Busiega of DCP. Wilberforce Indai of Kenya Moja Movement, James Ngatia of Alliance for Change, Jaburudi Democratic National Alliance, Shivakale Jason, that is Entrust Pioneer Party, Benjamin Nalwa of the National Ordinary People Empowerment Union, and finally George Ngaira, Party of Democratic Unity.
Right, it appears that Malava, they're still biding their time. It's a slow burn there. We're eagerly awaiting to hear, of course, that particular announcement. But even as they're putting their ducks in a row, we just want to cross over to Kasipul. Has been also one of the most contentious constituency, so to speak. And we saw yesterday welter of bloodshed there. Member of Parliament, Homa Bay Town, this is Peter Kaluma, bleeding copiously after being attacked by goons, so they say. So it was just a picture of thuggery and goonism way back in Kasipul, and they're raising accusatory finger against the opposition and, of course, the independent candidate, that is Philip Aroko. This is what actually the Member of Parliament himself said, that he knows these are goons that have been sent by the independent candidate. So earlier on, we heard that declaration, and of course we want to hear as well the sentiments from the ODM party chair, that is Gladys Wanga, and of course also from Boyd Were, who's maintained and of course made sure that that seat remains in the family after the demise of his father. Let's listen in.
Abok Isaac Kiche, 201. Aroko Philip Nation, 8,476. Bior Robert Money, 519. Kotiende Sam Rateng Okoth, 72. Okello Jesse Samson Owen, 55. Omondi Collins Okeo, 4,796. Ongondo Boyd Were, 16,000. $16,819. Ouma Jezimi Linda Aoko, 26. Ouma Robert Ouko, 17. Oyo Ismail Omondi, 98. And therefore, the MP-elect is Honorable
through this journey with Boyd, and I'd like to take this early opportunity to congratulate the MP-elect for Kasipul constituency, Boyd Were, and thank him for putting in so much effort. Despite having been, thrown into the deep end, putting in so much effort to get us the ODM party this victory today. I'm very, very grateful to the ODM party, the party machinery, our leaders, some of whom are here, Honorable Dr. Gogo, Honorable Kaluma, many who are not here, our grassroots ODM leadership in Kasipul from all the polling centers, who spent many sleepless nights to ensure that we turned around a very, very strong and landslide victory here in Kasipul. It shows that the ODM party remains strong, remains resilient, remains ready. And for those who wrote off ODM because of the passing of BAMBA, I think they have now seen for themselves that ODM is the largest party south of Sahara and north of River Limpopo, and in touch with its masses. This is also a very big honor to our departed party leader, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. The people of Kasipul have come back to say thank you to BAMBA for and honor him even in his absence. And for that we remain very grateful. And to the people of Kasipul, you were taken through a lot during this period. People lost their lives, some. People have been hurt during these processes unnecessarily and senselessly. And we'd like to say that this should be the very end of anybody, getting hurt or losing their lives. And we challenge, our new MP to ensure that this culture of people losing their lives or getting hurt for elections comes to an end. But we thank the people of Kasipul for their resilience. Their decision was clear on who they wanted to be their MP, and it is Boyd. And I'm sure Boyd is ready, Boyd is strong, Boyd is focused, and I am sure that he will deliver for the people of Kasipul in partnership with the county government, the national government, and everybody else. So we are very, very excited. ODM party is strong. We are fired up, and we are ready to move. Thank you. And for, sorry.
Your national performance, 3 MP positions.
And you know, for the rest of our candidates across the country, for whom I visited during this period, Harrison Garama Kombe in Magarini, Moses Omondi in Ugunja. I'd like to say that our national performance, retaining all our parliamentary seats, shows that ODM is a strong party and the party to watch, really. And as a national chairperson of the party, I'll say that we'll put in a lot more effort to ensure we galvanize, we consolidate, moving into the 2027 elections. Thank you. You want to speak, say something?
I want to thank the people of Kasipul for believing in me and entrusting me with the responsibility to lead them. I also want to thank our party, our great party, ODM party. I want to thank our leaders, led by our Member of Parliament, MCAs, our party chair, Her Excellency Governor Gladys Wanga, for believing in youth leadership. Today, the IBC conducted a free, fair and transparent election. We never witnessed any malpractices, so I want to ongera the IBC people for conducting a free, fair and transparent election. You know, the people of Kasipul have done their responsibility of electing a good leader, so it's for me now to work for them diligently. I also want to thank my competitors. We had 5 of them here who conceded defeat and agreed to support so that at least we can move forward as a people. And I want to urge everyone in Kasipul, let's embrace each other and let's maintain peace so that we can bring development to the people of Kasipul. Thank you. Yeah.
This seat fell vacant after the tragic loss of your father. Does it feel like poetic justice to you that you've now replaced him as the MP? Does it feel like poetic justice or proper?
No. You know, personally, as Boyd Were, you know, personally, I'm fit to become the Member of Parliament of Kasipul. The people of Kasipul woke up early, elected me because they knew that I'm ready and I'll work for them diligently. Yes.
I just want to congratulate Boyd and the people of Kasipul. We thank God. And I want to appreciate the people of Kasipul for showing us that young people can lead. Actually, the Kasipul people have shown the greater Kenya that young people are leaders of today, not leaders of tomorrow. So we wish you well, Boyd. There are leaders who are also going to show you the way in Parliament. We'll show you around. We'll hold your hand. And please work for Kasipul people. Thank you very much.
Please work for Kasipul people. That is Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga speaking to the new Member of Parliament-elect.
Yeah, in a capacity also as ODM chairperson. You know, the political jostling that has been happening in Kasipul. And this is a happy moment also for Boyd Were, a very also tumultuous time that has been on the campaign trail, of course, also slapping that of fines that came from IBC because of electoral offense. And we saw also the skirmishes yesterday, and the Member of Parliament who was adversely affected by that, Homa Bay Town Member of Parliament, Peter Kaluma, also just standing beside him, maybe also having some relief that after all the bloodshed, that I bled copiously. Yes. You know, this is the moment you say, you know, you guy, I really bled copiously for you. We've been really fighting for you to gather this particular seat. And that has happened in, of course, Kasipul. So that was Kasipul. But before we even continue pace with this coverage, we just want to also give you a sneak peek of our panelists who are already in studio. App and Ali, you can tease out our panelists.
All right, in studio, we have Honorable Senator Dr. Denson Mungatana, who is already seated. That is Senator Tana River County. We also have Julius Ruto Mheshimiwa, MP Keses, and this is a panel that Dibal will be having this morning once we are done taking you through the constituencies and, of course, the wards where we had a by-election yesterday. I want us to take a look at Nyamira County. Nyamira had 3 wards heading to the by-election had the by-election yesterday, not so. And there's Nyansiongo, Nyamaya, and Ekerenyo wards. We already have results for Nyamaya. This is in West Mugirango, and UPA candidates, that is Chris Osiemo, has been declared the winner already with 4,790 votes, followed closely by Thomas Nyandieka, who has garnered 1,357 votes. This seat attracted 9 candidates altogether, but as you can see, there's a big margin, 4,000 and 1,000. Let's cross over to Nyamaya.
Of ID number 2951026 has been duly elected as the rep of Assembly for Nyamaya constituency of Nyamira County in the election held 27th day of November 2025. Constituency officers, deputy candidate.
Kuna furugu kali sana. Uliona Mheshimiwa Osoro na wale ambao wako kwa eneo ya serikali ama tunaita UDA walikuja na magari na watu ambao wamekombolewa, vijana wadogo wakakuja hapa kuumiza wamama na hata mjane, vile mmesikia wakisema hapa. This is what made us to have a low turnout. Tunataka kuwauliza mahali imefika sasa, pesa haiwezi wasaidia. Wananchi wanapiga kura, mnyonga tengawa ajiwezi. Ikifika wakati kupiga kura, Wakenya sasa wamerefuka. Vile Ruto anapenda kusema, Mheshimiwa Ruto mwenyewe anasemanga hakuna mjinga sasa ambaye amebaki. Watu wamerefuka. It does not matter how much money you want to give them, but when people have made a decision to elect good leaders, and I want to thank them this time, sababu Mheshimiwa Osiemo ni kijana. Tumepata kijana ambaye atafanya kazi, na nataka kumhimiza utakapopata nafasi uchukue kiapo ufanyie watu wa Nyamaya kazi ili waweze kuwa na imani kwa vijana, kwa uongozi wa vijana. So I want to ask the government, the UDA party, that the constitution gives us a right to choose. The people of Nyamaya have stood firm, and they have shown you that as we go forward in 2027, as you prepare, what you need to do in the balance of this 1 year and a half is to work for the people. Anything else will not be able to work. You can imagine the number of people used to turn out and pick money, but they were not able to turn up and vote. I want to ask them, intimidation will not work. Going forward, just work for the people. Do that which we sent you to work, and that will be able to help us. So congratulations, Mheshimiwa Osiemo, and thank you for choosing the youth in this election.
Mheshimiwa, eneo hili haswa kaunti ya Nyamira imekuwa ikiangaziwa kwamba ilikuwa ni kinyang'anyiro sio cha hawa tu ambao walikuwa wanagombea, bali ni kinyang'anyiro kati ya chama chake Rais William Samoei Ruto na vile vile ambaye anatoka eneo hili na ambaye ni naibu kinara wa chama cha Jubilee, Daktari Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Na ushindi huu
kufikia sasa kuna kiongozi ambaye anasimama urais ambaye ni Dr. Fred Okengo Matiang'i, na wakati ulikuja huu uchaguzi uliona vile viongozi wengi kutoka huko UDA walikuja na they made a camp here, na tukasema uchaguzi huu si wa viongozi wadogo, ila ni wale viongozi wetu wakubwa. Na tunapoona saa hii ile matokeo imetoka iko wazi. I don't want to say much, but if you have eyes you can be able to see. Wananchi wameongea, na kama unataka kukaa hapa ndani, hapo ndio utapata mwelekeo, lakini ukienda huko nje wewe utakuwa umepotea. So asante sana watu wa Nyamaya na watu wote wa Kisii kwa kuonyesha hiyo mwelekeo mzuri. Wacha niongee kwa Kisii kwa dakika moja.
All right, that is Nyamai Ward in Nyamira County, West Mugirango to be precise. The winner, the MC-elect, that is Chris Osiemo from the UPA party, I beg your pardon, who has been declared the winner with 4,790 votes, trailing ahead of Nyandieka Thomas, who garnered 1,357 from that particular ward.
Remember this also, we heard from Gladys Wanga that ODM is still showing strong, but this is one of the constituency or that and the word that we know that ODM has actually shown or done poorly. First of all, they were unable to fill the candidates, and UPA has actually garnered that particular seat. And there is perception about UDA and the association of UDA with Fred Matiang'i. The fact that ODM is losing grip in Kisii region is a reality that is on the ground, and this speaks very forcibly to that particular fact on whether ODM needs actually to ratchet up their campaigns in the Kisii region regarding now the demise of Raila Odinga, who was the main fulcrum that was attracting members there in the Kisii region. So right now we can see UPA has actually garnered that particular seat. And of course, there is also the speculation that UPA will be working hand in hand with the Jubilee Party. So there could be a formation, a coalition of parties there, and maybe they can project a candidate from that particular region. But the fact is on the ground that also Dr. Fred Matiang'i has become sort of the kingpin of the Kisii region right now. We shall be seeing a lot of party hopping.
Yeah.
Technically, people now right now held on the ground because of their position in the National Assembly. You cannot just cross over technically, but in their hearts, in the spirit, they've moved on either to UPA or the Jubilee Party.
Right. We can agree that this is also a make or break for Matiang'i. At least he can go home and bring in people to the Jubilee Party.
This is now, it will really embolden Matiang'i, right?
Yes.
You really have now a very feisty, a very emboldened campaign. People now will be believing that, yes, finally UPA, which is a fairly new party, can actually give a candidate.
All right, I'll move to the ground now and I'll leave you to the conversation.
All right, we want just to continue with the panelists as well. We just showed you their faces. They're already in studio, so who are here with us as well. And we have Danson Mungatana, who is the senator of Tana River, and also we have Mheshimiwa Kesos as well, who is here to give us just an update on what he has been, of course, looking at, observing as far as this election is concerned. A lot of that is at stake, as we can say here. Julius Ruto is with us. Julius, just tell us more about what you've seen so far.
Thank you so much, and thank you, viewers. First of all, I should apologize that my voice is distorted a little bit because of an attack on...
Oh, you're running a cold?
Yes.
Oh, merit break.
Thank you. Now, first of all is to appreciate the commission of IBC. Remember, they've just come into office after the earlier commission's time at lapsed and other commissioners through the due process after the former election, which was done in 2022, left office. And therefore, it was the first test for the new commission in office to demonstrate their ability. And allow me to congratulate them for the good work they did, but out of difficult environment.
Yes.
I think for the first time, and I want to take this moment to condemn the unnecessary violence that was experienced almost across every part of where the by-election was. It was so much disheartening to see Kenyans rising against each other. Remember, this was just about by-election, but this by-election brought about serious emotions attached to elections. And I think this is where the Curricular Commission had mentioned, talked about in the report, where elections are being trivialized to an extent where candidates, are attacked. We saw candidates, we saw supporters, we saw some agents walking around with goons. And the end result is the unfortunate incident. We saw people shedding blood. Some of them are hospitalized. We saw properties being destroyed. I think it is something that should be called out. At this time and era and age, Kenyans that we pride of democracy as compared to the region in terms of has that space that we gave ourselves through the new constitution. And in this democracy, it says that let the majority win, let the minority have their say. And it has provided a mechanism of period of campaign, which we saw it over a month. Again, it wasn't good campaign. Sometimes there were a lot of engagements, But I want to appreciate that, again, the results is demonstrating that democratic freedom of people of expression. A stiff competition with a win, a small margin of win, shows that there was a moment for people to express themselves. And we want to appreciate Kenyans. However, you appreciate that by-election is unlike the general election. The voter turnout was very low. It shows that there's a voter apathy, and it is something that worries. We need to evaluate after this by-election, why are Kenyans not committed to vote?
Right.
Is it because of the violence around it? Is it because of the political environment that is changing day in out? Is it because of the way we are taking our issues? We are running our campaigns. We are running our party politics. Why are Kenyans seem not to be committed to this civil right and responsibility for them? Because vote is a right for every Kenyan, and vote process is so good that it will allow Kenyans to express themselves. And by the way, remember, these are positions of representation. This is where Kenyans need to rise up and provide leadership for their own through expressing their interest through a vote. Because it is only that vote that is able to determine the kind of leadership that they need for themselves. So generally, it is something that we have to reckon, something that we have to appreciate. But again, I still want to water it down and say that we have to appreciate the new commission. This was a baby work, and they have done it well under difficult situation. I mean, you cannot imagine in a polling station, then suddenly violence comes up. You have to protect the materials. You have the police officers. Some of these guys are coming when they are fully armed. They are wielding out the guns, the pistons. They want to hit at each other. Some of them, maybe they have intention to attack the process so that they can influence the outcome, which we should be expecting as I wind up, that there would be other processes of seeking God intervention, because I feel some people may not. If you look at, I saw one candidate somewhere coming out, I don't know whether it went up to the head, it became, it became issues or that someone was going out of his mind, All those put together, probably we might be expecting some people moving to court, but all are provided by law.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. And of course, you alluded to that particular issue that was happening in Kasipul, a very contentious one as well. And momentarily, we just want to cross over there before we chime in. And also we let Danson Mungatana to chime in on what are his sentiments regarding this particular development we've had so far with the by-election. Right now, we want to just cross over to Kasipul and link up with Sydney Chazima to just give us an update so far of what is currently happening and to tell us what is the way forward after now we've heard the declaration of the winner there, a very contentious one, political jostling happening there. Good morning, Chazima. What are you learning?
Good morning from studios in Nairobi. It's a very chilly morning right here in Kasipul. Right now I'm standing in Oyugi's town, and behind me you can see Agorosare High School, which was the designated tallying center, the constituency tallying center, where the results were declared at around 3 a.m. in the morning. And I can say, I've heard you speaking about hotly contentious. Yes, it was contentious on the campaign trail, but when it came to the results, that was not what was reflective of the results, in that we've seen ODM's Boyd Were has resoundingly trounced his opponent, Philip Aroko, who was running on an independent ticket. in that Boyd Were garnered 16,819 votes against Philip Aroko's 8,467. That speaking to a margin of around 8,000. Quite a big margin, as you'd see, and not quite really as hotly contested as we had expected it to be. And we were around here at around 3 a.m. and we saw Boyd Were was here alongside Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga and some MPs, including Peter Kaluma and Eve Obara. And they were just giving their sentiments, congratulating the young legislator and urging him to work for the residents of Kasipul. And Boyd also was magnanimous in his speech, thanking his opponents for a hotly contested race and assuring the people of Kasipul of peace. We also saw Gladys Wanga speaking to the issue of campaign-related violence and projecting that this could be the end of it. Whether or not that comes to fruition is something we are waiting to see. And if my camera person, Francis Kaikai, can just lead you to this side of my right, you'll see this is a picture of Oyugi's town. And this is how Oyugi's town is looking at the moment. We've seen some shops are yet to open, but with time, we believe they'll be out. And the mood is now calm, and there are a few people who have just passed us right before we started this report, carrying their vuvuzelas, blowing their whistles, heading all the way to the road that leads to Kendu Bay, and that's where Boyd Were's home is. We were there at around 3 a.m. and we saw a lot of people heading there, all screaming with joy, laughing with joy, and music was blaring inside the compound. And some were seen dancing on top of balconies just to celebrate the victory of the young legislator who will now be going to Parliament to represent this constituency. Remember, he will be taking after his father, who was fatally shot in Nairobi earlier this year around May and April. So this is rightly the picture of here in Kasipul. Nothing much to report about after this. Maybe we will be heading there to get a glimpse of what has really transpired from then. But some are whispering that the ODM legislator might be heading back to town just to do a victory parade, maybe for their residents and to celebrate together with residents of Oyugi's town. So nothing much to report about. What I can say, as the Luopians say, Boyd Osechame, that we came, we saw, and we can report that Boyd conquered Kasipul. Back to you in studio.
Chizima, we are also eagerly waiting to hear from a member of parliament who was adversely affected in these skirmishes. He was there flanked by flanking Boyd Were. This is Peter Kaluma. I don't know if we've been able maybe just to get some of his side of the story as far as this is concerned. Accusatory fingers that were being raised that Philip Aroko was in the middle of this in perpetrating the violence, the skirmishes we saw yesterday.
I believe the man was in sweet pain and he didn't want to talk. We tried to tell him to talk. He said, Gladys has already spoken on our behalf. So he didn't comment on anything. But looking at him, he sounded a man who was pleased by the result, in that he was whispering that the pain he went through was sufficient and was covered by the result that happened here. So he was upbeat and didn't make any comment because they say that Gladys Wanga, the ODM chairperson, had spoken on their behalf. But we shall be speaking to him on phone, trying to trace him and maybe just get a clear comment from him on how he will be faring on, or maybe he will be taking on the matter of the violence that he faced during the voting process. Dibal.
Many thanks indeed, Sydney Chazima there reporting from Kasipul. Of course, we can see it's bright and early in Kasipul. And already we have a winner in the name of Boyd Were of ODM. We're still eagerly waiting to get pictures from Malava. Earlier on, we actually had shown you what was happening as they were just also preparing to make their declaration there and, of course, announce the winner as well. That has been also hotly contested, very contentious as well on the matter of electoral offences, as it were. And even goonism and thuggery has been reported from that particular area. As we are concerned right now, they're in the final moments, and any moment from now, we shall also be relaying that particular information, live pictures as they are being beamed out from Malava. But we continue to analyze here with our panelists, and I just want to, of course, if you're joining us right now, make a fresh introductory, of course, remarks about them, and to just give them also an opportunity to say something on what they're observing so far. Holding court with Julius Ruto, who is a member of parliament, Kisses. Also, we have with us Harrison Kinyanjui, who is an advocate of the High Court. And of course, a gentleman I haven't seen in a while, but now I can see there is a new, of course, designation to his name. He is a Senator, Dr. Danson Mungatana. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, brother.
You can tell us more about your doctorate before we buckle down so that we can see you've been given the power to read,
yes.
Whether now you can give a very critical analysis
yes.
on some of these issues that we're discussing. You're taking it a notch higher. Good morning. Good to see you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers, and happy to be back. Thank you for your congratulations. Yes, I think a week ago, I was given the power to read as a doctor now, Mungatana, or Doctor of Philosophy. So I studied law and then a master's in law, but because I'm in this space of leadership, I said for my doctorate I'll do management and leadership. Mm-hmm. And it was tough because we went to meet with mathematics again at that point. So it was really, because I moved out of my comfort zone, but I thank God all things are possible. Mm-hmm. Coming back to this election, I want to say, first of all, congratulations to the winners, congratulations to the Kenyans who came out to choose their leaders, congratulations to IEBC. But I also want to really congratulate the UDA party. I think UDA truly got down to the business of organizing these elections very well. And I'm saying this because I have first-hand experience. In Tana River County, we were having a ward by-election. And that ward by-election was occasioned by the death of our former member of county assembly there.
This is the Chewani.
In Chewani ward. Mm-hmm. And he passed on, just 8 months after election through a road traffic accident, unfortunately. And then, we waited for so long, and then we had to battle it. So it was like almost a fresh election with very little in terms of sympathy vote. And it was a tough one. So I want to congratulate Mama Sophia Kia for giving it back to UDA, and thank the people of Chewani for coming out in their numbers to elect these candidates. So I really want to tell Kenyans that electioneering, from my experience since 2002, I've been in this space, is a lot about getting to know the process and understanding it. Mm-hmm. It's not about how many people are attending your rallies. It's not about how much insults you throw on your opponent. Like I saw one of the fellows, or complaining against IEBC, complaining against your other opponents. I think you need to understand that the process is divided into...
All right. Allow me just to butt in because, yes. Of course, now you'll have to understand this will be the nature of our discussion, butting in just abruptly, because we want to just get that announcement from Malava as indicated that will be happening anytime, and this is the moment.
I now declare Mr. David Abmandakwa as officially elected the official MP of Malava constituency. And in that connection, Mheshimiwa, kindly come forward and pick your certificate. You can hold it like this. You are officially elected the AP of Malava constituency. Thank you so much. God bless you. I want to give you an opportunity to say a word or two to your electors, then we wind over.
Malava hoye! Malava hoye! Nataka kushukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa haya yote. Tumekuwa kwa campaign baada ya kumpoteza mjumbe wetu Mheshimiwa Malulu. Mungu aiweke roho yake mahali pema peponi, na tuko hapa wakati huu kwa sababu ya hiyo maneno ilitokea Malava. Mimi napenda kumshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwanza kwa haya yote, kutufikisha sisi wakati kama huu na tukamaliza vizuri. Pili, ningependa kumshukuru party leader wangu His Excellency President William Samoei Ruto kwa kunipatia nafasi kwa chama chake ili nikuwe mgombea wa kiti cha ubunge cha Malava. Napenda kushukuru watu wa Malava kwa kujitokeza na kutoa statement moja na kunipatia nafasi ili nipate kuongoza kwa hii sehemu ya Malava. Napenda kupongeza familia yangu kwa nafasi yenye wamenipatia ili kutoka nje kutafuta uongozi wa kuhudumia watu wa Malava. Mimi nimependa pia kupongeza IBC kwa kufanya kazi bila mapendeleo na majibu itokee kama hii ya kusema kama mimi ni mshindi, na mpaka saa hii hakuna yule amepinga hapa kusema kwamba sio sawa. Kwa hivyo IBC, hongera. Security apparatus, ninawashukuru kwa ile mikakati mliweka mpaka wakati huu. Incident hazijakuwa mbaya sana, ngaje for a few reported cases ambazo ni za kawaida na zimeshughulikiwa. Mimi nataka kuambia watu wa Malava kwamba Malava ni moja, na mimi kama kiongozi wao, Mungu atakuwa mbele, watu wa Malava watakuwa katikati, mimi nitakuwa nyuma kuhakikisha kwamba hakuna mtu wa Malava yoyote mwenye anapaki nyuma. Na ninawahakikishia ya kwamba ile miradi Mheshimiwa Malulu Injendi aliwacha kama amepanga kufanyia watu wa Malava, nitahakikisha nimeimaliza kwanza, ndio niempaka kwa zile zangu zenye naweza fanya. Napenda kuwashukuru competitors wangu kutoka kwa chama changu cha UDA, Mheshimiwa Kangwana, Mheshimiwa Ryan na wakili Shimaka, kwa kunipatia nafasi baada ya nomination kwamba tusitembee pamoja na upate ushindi kwa chama cha UDA kama familia, na tupate ushindi kwa watu wa Malava kwa wapatia kiongozi bora ambaye ni mimi. For my worthy competitors this last minute, wale tumeng'ang'ana nao kwa hii final, pia ningependa kuwashukuru nikisema kwamba natakana tukue na kiongozi mmoja wakati mmoja kwa jina la mbunge wa Malava. Kwa wakati huu Mungu amesema ni mimi, kwa sababu uongozi unatoka kwa Mwenyezi Mungu. Ninawaomba wakuje pamoja na mimi ili interest yetu, kwa sababu ilikuwa ni kusaidia watu wa Malava, tusonge nao mbele. Leo ni mimi na kesho inaweza kuwa hao. Kwa mambo wenzangu wa press, because I'm part of you, nasema kwamba asanteni sana for the coverage. It has been very, very fair. At no time nimejaribu kusema kwamba inawatolea makosa yote kwa upande wangu yenye mmefanya. Kwa hivyo asanteni sana for your publicity, kwa kunijenga pia na kuchukua hii nafasi. Kwa wote wenye wako hapa, kwa wote wenye wako nje, kwa wote marafiki wenye wananisikiza wananiona, hii ushindi ni wetu sisi wote. Na nitahakikisha ya kwamba nitakuwa mtu wa kusikia maoni ya kila mtu, nitakuwa mvumilivu kwa nyinyi yote, na nikisema ya kwamba watu wa Malava wamesema statement yao ya kusema kwamba they have gone for the best. Kwa wale walikuwa wamesimama and they have exercised their democratic right, na hakuna mtu amewashurudisha, na nikusema kwamba sisi wote right now is to focus kwenda mbele, tukijua kwamba hatuna muda wa kumaliza na waste, kwa sababu election nyingine ninajua hata mimi niko hapa kwamba ni 2027, so we have 1.5 year kurudi kwa election, na nitakana tuwe tumefanya kazi kwa sababu tumepoteza muda mrefu. Kwa hayo yote, safari ni mpaka nyumbani kwa maombi. Boma imekuwa ya kila mtu sasa, na wakaribisha nyinyi wote ili tuombe pamoja, na sisi wote ni washindi. Asanteni sana na Mwenyezi Mungu awabariki.
For the chief agents, tafadhali mkuja hapa dakika moja. Chief agents, mmoja mnisainie hii pia, alafu nitawapatia copy. Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa.
David Ndakwe there, just giving his remarks and congratulating all the stakeholders that were involved in his campaign, and up to his final victory. He's a happy man, as we just have heard from him, and a big win for UDA and the broad-based government at large, happening in Malava, also in Kasipul as well. Remember also, this will be a sign of relief for the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Musalia Mudavadi. Everyone was eagerly waiting to see if UDA will maintain this particular seat. Of course, it was earlier on held by the ANC MP, that is the late Lulu Ijendi. And of course, now Ndakwe has actually captured it. We shall be following on that particular story much later as well. But now we have a member of parliament-elect in, of course, Malava. We want just to give you also a security briefing, and we want to cross over to Magarini there, where we have the Regional Commander Ali Nunu and the IBC Commissioner as well. Let's listen in.
It has been a long stretch. Magarini has 193 polling stations. We have done 173. We have 20 to go. So God willing, the next 1 hour, 2 hours max, we should be able to wrap it up and declare the winner. We have done well. It has been a long stretch. But as I always tell people, if we have to improve things in this country, we have to go tech, we have to go automation. The amount of labor that is involved, the number of people, and the fatigue that takes toll on these officials is unfathomed. So yes, it has taken a stretch because the work involved is a lot, but most importantly also, it's quite a vast constituency, all the way to Shakahola, to the border with Taita, to the border with Tana River, so it took a bit of a stretch. But all ballot boxes were here in good time, and we're able to proceed accordingly. Thank you.
I know this is your first time in terms of this exercise, but basically, what is your immediate experience, given that you've taken a lot of time and you mentioned that we have to go the tech way, but are there any other things that maybe you would recommend as a commission or the commission to be implemented as we head to the 2027 polls?
Thank you. Mtanaki, we just have to go the automation way. It doesn't make sense that in this day and age, this is what you have to go through. These poll officials have not slept for the last 2 days. They have basically queued here with 193 ballot boxes overnight. They came here at 8 p.m. last night. They are still in the queue. It is not right. I think going forward as a country, we have to decide that we have to do things in the century in which we are, and automation is the way to go. Look, the Philippines has 68 million registered voters. In their last elections, they were able to announce their results in 2.5 hours. We are only at 27 million, 22, hoping to make it 28 million. We have to adopt automation. But most importantly, one or two lessons that I've picked, that security is everything. The tensions that were being spoken about in Magarini, the moment we got the help and the cooperation of the security team in Magarini, who have deployed massively. I can't thank Mr. Ali Nuno Mo and his team. They have deployed layers after layers, from GSV to RDU, to the NPS. And this compound is very porous. But you'll find officers stationed at every corner. I can't thank him more. But that's what it tells you also, that in elections, security is key. And when you get proper cooperation with security teams, things work. The third thing that I've learned, misinformation, disinformation is going to kill this country if you don't work at it. Because I've seen so many things flying in the media about Magarini being on the edge, tensions boiling over in Magarini, and yet I've been here for 10 days, I've not seen it. So I'm so grateful that I have picked these lessons as a new commissioner. This is our first exercise, and I'm hoping that together with my colleagues, we'll do a post-by-election analysis and come up with suggestions that will help us improve this exercise going forward. Because Kenyans want results in real time.
We spent the night together here.
Yes, we did.
And maybe what do you have to say about the voter turnout?
The voter turn, I think we are at around 34%. I'll just have to verify once we're done. In your last contact you'll establish, it's about 34%. You see, historically, by-elections don't attract a lot of voter turnout. For some reason, Kenyans don't get so interested in by-elections. However, this could be a manifestation of very many other things. Number one, how have we handled the politics proceeding to this by-election? Have we given the people hope? Have we given the people hope that these elections would matter, or even that voting counts? There is also the issue of the people themselves generally feeling that it doesn't matter whether you vote or you don't vote, things will remain the same. So it is a national psyche that we have to deal with. But most importantly, and what I encourage Kenyans, Article 1 grants you the power over the sovereignty of this nation. What IBC is doing is the delegated responsibility. Do not delegate and go to sleep. Delegate and be vigilant. Because as Albert Einstein says, the price of eternal democracy, the price of democracy rather, is eternal vigilance. So don't delegate and you go to sleep. Come out and vote. You cannot change your fortunes as a citizen by purely lamenting. We can't be a country of lamentations. We have to get up and do it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Allow me to speak to the revision of Mr. Madam has been. I don't know if you want to speak to the security. Maybe how are you able to deal with the tension and the chaos that maybe would have been reported in different areas of this constituency?
Well, the issue is that we had a proper plan in place and we have strategized accordingly, and therefore we were prepared for 3 events. One, pre-election period, that's the campaign period. We had campaign period free of incidents. Equally during the campaign day, we have deployed heavily, and still, as we are finalizing, still we have plans to cover the post-election period. Therefore, I want to assure Kenyans that we are there for them. We will provide their safety and security, and therefore, as we finish, please, I appeal to you, just disperse peaceably.
Many things.
We we can see, of course, there the sentiments of the regional commander of the Magarini, that is Ali Nunu, there speaking and talking about the security situation there, just quelling those fears that were there earlier regarding tensions, which also we've heard from the commissioner, that is Alitulala Mukhwana, telling us that that particular situation of tension being reported in Magarini, he has been a happy camper there for a while, and he has not seen what has been, of course, flying in the social media or maybe even the traditional media. He was never very clear on which media he is actually talking, but it could be also the social media that tension was rife in Magarini. Regarding the voter turnout, of course, he's spoken about how that has been not very effective. People have not really turned out in force, and this is what is saying it is historically happening in Kenya. Maybe we're not very keen with the by-elections, and he has no sorting idea why, reporting giving a ballpark figure of 34% as a voter turnout. As we've also heard him talking and tripping off his tongue was that quote from Albert Einstein, that the price of democracy is eternal vigilance, and they've been keeping an eye on that particular situation in Magarini. So far, we are waiting for 25 ballot boxes to be verified, then we will know the winner. So this is just some of the information that is coming in dribs and drabs from Magarini, and we shall be keeping our eyes peeled and keeping out our ears to keep you updated and sufficiently informed as well. But here in studio, we continue pace with the conversation with our panelist, actually interrupted Dr. Danson Mungatana, who's making his remarks regarding also the turnout in Chewani, and of course you can speak about also Magarini as well.
Okay, thank you very much. So I was saying at the point that we stopped, that in fact elections have various phases, and this is what also our commissioner there and the commander of police said. There are various phases. So the last phase is a very critical phase, and that is about organizing the actual election. That one I really want to thank our political party, UDA, and all the team that was there in Chewani Ward in Tana River. They helped a lot in terms of organizing. So winning elections is not a very simple thing. And then again, I also want to agree with the commissioner there that the turn-up is normally low for by-elections. Which brings me to what, after so many years in politics, what I really think. And I wish we had put it in our constitution. I don't think Kenyans should be having by-elections. I sit in the Pan-African Parliament, and when I was telling my colleagues, I have to leave the session so that I can go back and campaign for my candidate. And they said, what, is Kenya having an election? I say, yeah, we are having by-elections. Said, what is by-elections? South Africa doesn't have by-elections.
So what happens with the demise of...
Namibia doesn't have, I'll tell you. Okay. Mozambique doesn't have, Tunisia doesn't have, and many, many countries don't have. Rwanda here, our neighbor, they don't have. And what happens is, if you are elected on ODM, for example, or UDA, for example, and you resign, you vacate office by reason of death or resignation or sickness, the Secretary General of UDA simply nominates another person to fill that space, okay? Or ODM or any other political party. So there is no tension, there is no competition, there's no resources that are applied. And look, how do we apply many, many millions for elections, and then you end up with the same results? You see, there's not much variance, because ODM and UDA dominated these elections like they had previously. And I believe that in our next constitutional dispensation, we should not have by-elections. Political parties must be given the opportunity to just maintain their numbers, because even Kenyans, and I'm saying scientifically, the commissioner agrees and Kenyans agree, they're not interested in by-elections. Nobody wants to go out. And I know, because I was there, we talked to people day and night, we pushed, we did what? We agree. The day of elections, few people turn up. And they go back to what has been happening historically. And this is not the first time we are doing by-elections in Tana River. We've done other in the ward section, in Sala ward, in Kinangomba ward, previously. And again, the turn-up is very little, very small, no matter what you do. Kenyans have established a tradition, they are not interested in by-elections. It is the politicians who are interested. It is us who want to, political parties want to establish some form of authority. They want to retain their seats. They want to measure themselves in terms of, like a warm-up before the real race. This is what happened in these elections, because there really wasn't much of a difference. So I would really, really, really appeal to those who will be charged with the next constitutional dispensation. Let us avoid these by-elections. Kenyans have shown that they have no interest and they serve no purposes. Most times, the political parties that had those seats will retain those seats, and this is the reality. So why spend millions on that? Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. All right, let me just yield the floor now to Harrison Kinyanjui. And I know we were here with you, of course, also just looking at what is currently happening right now, talking speculatively. Now we have facts on the ground, and results now, they are trickling in. I want us just to maybe train our focus on what was happening or has been happening also in Mbeere North. You saw how yesterday the skirmishes were there, and finally they've announced Leonard Wamudende as the Member of Parliament-elect under the UDA ticket. The question we were broaching with you was the fact that there is a challenge legally, right, that has been raised regarding his name and regarding also the ominous cloud banks of corruption that is hanging over him as well. Do you foresee any legal challenges ahead?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. But allow me, before I answer
Sure.
Before I answer that, to vehemently disagree with Honorable Mungatana's proposition. Let's do away with by-elections. Why are we having by-elections? We should be like Namibia. We should be like South Africa. We should have the political party that had the winner then propose. I mean, what became of our constitution? Our constitution even envisages the removal of Honorable Mungatana by his own people through the recall clause. The recall clause was placed by the framers of our constitution in order to ensure that there is actual representation, not a facade, not the joke that is now going on, not the fraud. And I mean that with tremendous respect. Fraud? Yeah, of course. Someone comes to you and tells you, vote for me, I'm your linchpin, change, I am the person. And then 3 months down the line, or probably 6 months down the line, they are not what they promised you they will deliver. Now, our own constitution tells you that halfway through, once you've assessed him or her, and you can say that, wait a minute, no, I have to recall you. You're not representing my interest. You become a conduit of corruption, or you are perpetuating something which is alien to what you told me, and therefore you have to be recalled. Now, the by-election affords the Kenyan people to have the continuity of representation in parliament pursuant to their electoral choice. Now, when you have a political party as proposed by Honorable Mungatana saying the by-elections are not functional, they are not effectual, you are having a political party assume the enfranchisement right of the people. We can't have that. Absolutely. So having disabused the Kenyan people of the position we have in the constitution, let me come now to this other scenario, which is most regrettable of Mbeere North. Section 43 of the Elections Act, Section 43, subsection 1, subsection 2, subsection 3, completely forbids public officers from participating in an election, campaigning for a political party. What we have seen in Malaba, what we have seen in Mbeere North is against the law. In fact, let me remind Honorable Roku that he stands the possibility of jail, the fine of 1 million shillings, under subsection 4 of section 43 of the Elections Act. If you look at section 56, 57, 58, all the way to section 73 of the Elections Act, we have offenses that are there. A moribund, if I should use that word with tremendous respect to the IEBC, a moribund IEBC is what is allowing these illegalities to happen. What happened in Malava ought never have happened. What happened in Barrie North ought never have happened. If you look at the Elections Act saying that cheating is an electoral offense, Harrison Combe goes to his own constituency and says that, we have seen people here who were being bribed, and there is money in bags. What happened in Malava, we saw that some people were being shipped from Nairobi all the way there to go and cause mayhem. Can you call that a credible election? Would the IEBC even have the cheek to present a declaration of a winner to someone where violence has been taking place? Where are there allegations and, in fact, documented accounts of corruption? Is that what you can call a clean election? And can you have the credibility of saying 63% of the registered voters in Barrie North showed up? You're lying. To me, that's a red flag.
But did we see any documented evidence, as you allude to, from Magarini? Yeah, if they really come forth and say, we have seen, money bags being exchanged here, and we don't have any stitch of evidence, then.
I'm talking about the gamut of electoral offenses that have been alluded to. Harrison Combe, for instance, saying that my own agents were barred from being at electoral posts, and I'm even having ODM posting or sending their own agents that are alien that I don't know. According to the elections general regulations, you're supposed to have only one agent in a polling station. Now you have a myriad showing up who are neither accredited nor of the, the candidate. What are we talking about here? A sham of a by-election. Why aren't people showing up, as Honorable Mungatana is alluding to, which I again disagree with? It's because this is a working day. It is an election offense, an electoral offense. You as an employer to fail to allow your employee to show up and vote. That's an offense. But will you hear any employer being taken to court because they denied an employee to show up and exercise their constitutional right to vote? I haven't heard any. The IEBC did not even come out and tell them.
It's not a pre-serve of the general election. Also, it's also for the by-elections as well.
Yes, the by-election, you're supposed to allow, the by-election, in a by-election, you're supposed to allow your employees to go and vote. And if they ask you to allow them to go and vote, it would be a crime, a criminal offense, for which you can get jailed, for you to forbid them to go and vote. Because that affects their enjoyment of their constitutional rights.
Right.
Now,
Wakili, allow me just to butt in so that I can cross over now to Malava there. Magarini, I should say. Yeah, this is Magarini, pictures from Magarini. Let's just listen in.
Total valid vote 142. Registered voters 344. Rejected ballot 0. Rejection objected to ballot 0. Disputed votes 0. Valid votes cast 142. Mkodoni Primary School. Sara Wahito 0. Amos Katana 0. Emmanuel Kisao 0. Hamadi Chadi 2. Stanley Karisa 15. Harrison Garama 108. Jacob Temo 0. John Sulubu 0. Furaha Chengo 0. Samuel Kombe 0. Valid votes cast 127. Registered voters 273. Rejected ballots 2. Rejection objected to 0. Disputed votes 0. Valid votes cast 127. Awewanje Primary School. Sarah Wahito 0. Amos Katana 0. Emmanuel Kisao 0. Hamadi Chadi 0. Stanley Karisa 42. Harrison Garama 1 and 2. Jacob Temo 0. John Sulubu 0. Furaha Chengo 0. Samuel Kombe 0. Valid votes cast 234. Total number registered voters in the polling station 393. Rejected ballot papers 0. Rejection objected to ballot papers 0. Disputed votes 0. Valid votes cast 234. Sorry? Harikombe. 1 and 2. Okay. Chamari Primary School, polling station 1 of 2. Susan Wahito 0. Kalama Amos Katana 0. Emmanuel Kisao 1. Hamadi Chadi 0. Stanley Karisa 35. Harrison Garama 109. Jacob Temo 1. John Sulubu 0. Furaha Chengo 0. Samuel Kombe 0. Valid votes cast 166.
Well, we can see results continue to trickle in there at Margarini, and that is the IBC officials waiting, of course, for other constituency also to stream in their results as well. And we shall get the final verdict after they have verified all and tallied and make that particular declaration. And of course, we are eagerly awaiting to see how that really pans out after we heard also from the officials of IBC Commissioner there, Ali Tulala Mkhwana, and Ali Nunu, who is the regional commissioner there, also talking about the security situation and the update and the voter turnout as well, and we shall keep you updated. We continue with the conversation with our panelist here. I'd interrupted Advocate Harrison Kinjui. Hope you've not lost your train of thought, sir. No. Yes, please.
Allow me to say that what happened in Beira North was a violation of the law that, in my humble view, ought to form the basis of an electoral contest. Let's look at the outcome that has been announced, allegedly declaring the UDA candidate as the winner. What is the margin of win? It is so thin as to cast aspersions on the veracity thereof, given and against the background of a 63%, well, according to the returning officer, we're told that 63% of the voter turnout. What? Wait a minute. Everywhere else, there is a low voter turnout, as would be expected in a by-election. Again, because of what I said earlier, that employees, or it's a working day, so therefore people went out to fend for themselves. And therefore, they don't show up to vote. But somehow, mysteriously, this is, I don't want to call it the Black Swan event, that you have this Beira North creating such a huge exception to the norm.
But premium attention had been given to Beira North.
Absolutely.
We've seen the deputy president camping there as well. The former deputy president, DCP party leader, has been a happy camper for almost 2 good weeks, mobilizing.
But still, camping there.
There's sort of a stimulation that was there. You could actually maybe expect the results to turn out to be that.
But not 63%. Not 63%. So I say that narrow the narrow margin itself, in my humble view, cast aspersions on that win. And I believe that's going to be hotly contested. It's going to be a legal contest, in my humble view. And the likely outcome is that that election will be nullified. It will be nullified for, in my view, again, without wishing to be the harbinger or bad news.
On what technicalities? Is it now the electoral process itself?
Yes. Yes, the entire process.
Is it also for the name that we're talking about and the way he was cleared?
Yes. That's one of the reasons, and I believe it will probably be a bedrock, part of the bedrock. But another more fundamental reason is the process that was involved, use of and the deployment of state resources in a manner that is expressly forbidden by the Elections Act and the Electoral Code of Conduct. And you cannot have the deployment of state resources and the cheating of voters. But we even found a governor giving sweets. You don't go doing that on a Sunday. You as a governor of, going to Mbeere, you didn't do that a month ago. But somehow you found it necessary to go and do it during this election. That contextualizes your action as a crime. It is called treating in the Election Offences Act. And therefore, that's the other one. The other issue is the voter intimidation that was going on. That we saw that, and then we heard all these myriad of incidents. All this vehicle that has been seen with altered registration number plates. These bags of money that going on. So all of that, I believe, will sum up in an electoral dispute where the court will very likely, more than likely, overturn that election. And what will happen? We'll go back to the drawing board, in my humble view, and I don't believe that the Mbeere North should embrace and accept an electoral process that is conducted outside the law and therefore is endorsed and offers, in my view, a blueprint for the 2027 election to be so interfered with. Because everybody's going to be saying, you allowed it in Mbeere North. You blinked at it. How can you question 2027? We must not accept this sort of thing. And an IEBC that is in place right now is blinking at this without even allowing the law to take its course. Alusalala, as I close, that last remark. Alusalala goes and says that, we shouldn't be doing this. The Philippines, and he gives an example, the Philippines, has these many millions of people, and they do their tallying in 2.5 hours. How about Section 44 of the Elections Act? I mean, he's supposed to be there, knowing what Section 44 says. It talks about automation. It talks about using that electronic system, if he has. And you have people in Magarini, 10 of them who showed up, the Kim's kit had failed. What are we talking about?
All right, let's hear from Honorable Ruto.
Thank you so much. Listening to Akili, at start he began well, but as he's ending, it shows the position he's taking is purely political review from him. First of all,
so he began well. Do you agree with the assessment that yes, there are contentious issues?
It's like it's from utopian world.
Utopian. I'm quoting the law.
In the real world, first of all, well, quoting us, like we can quote scriptures, you can quote Bible, you can quote Quran, but you can still perpetrate your agenda, so it doesn't make any difference. But first of all, I would have wished also him to make comment on the conduct of the person and character of a statesman person called Justin Muturi, the former Speaker of the National Assembly for 2 terms, on the way he conducted himself, blatantly attacking a young man. So that I would appreciate if he would apportion that kind of conduct to all aspects. It will sound good. But nonetheless, to say...
He was fighting for order, right? Going by...
No, what kind of order? Young man walking there, whatever, but does he have any... Does he have any...
It was actually now him living out what is written. Yeah, fighting for order.
Please let us not sanitize what is evil, it is evil. But trying to listen to that commissioner who said we are in an era of misinformation and disinformation. Some of our arguments that we are putting across here purely is a reflection of what we have not confirmed or either has been subjected to confirmation. Like I saw a fan carrying some stuff. The same fan is what we saw in 2022. Again, being circulated here today, that it was being carrying some food stuff around Mbeere, All this put together. I saw another guy walking naked. I mean, you could compare with Honorable Kaluma, who had been bruised and, the blood had flown out of his face and you could see the blood turning black. This one had some red stuff walking naked in the morning. And it was meant to whip emotions of people. I mean, if this is the kind of the way we want to justify some election offenses in the pretext that we want to see the other guy on the other side that is perpetrating illegality, against condemning all this one, I think it is something that we should not go that direction. What is wrong, it is wrong. Conflict of Interest Act that we just amended in the floor of the House the other day was able to separate the role of a minister from a public officer and conferring some responsibility of carrying a political agenda. And I don't see anything wrong. First of all, Honorable Ruku is electorate member of Mbeere North. Remember, he was a member of parliament for Mbeere. Him appearing, casting vote, has nothing totally to be seen that he was committing any offense. I mean, for God's sake. Him participating...
But hasn't he been on the campaign trail?
But as I've said, look at the Conflict of Interest Act, the amendment. So...
But the Elections Act itself,
yes, so
other than
this
the
conflict of interest, is it superseding what is on the election?
No, I mean, giving him latitude to, especially because what Ruku was doing, I saw him every other time appearing. He was on driving the agenda of the government at the end of the day.
But how providential can it be, during campaign time? Is when you're driving the agenda of government. We've seen him going around the country.
He was not only in Mbeere North. We've seen him going around the country doing the work. So why haven't we condemned him appearing on the other side of the country and only want to pick out, single out him appearing in Mbeere? Mbeere is part of Kenya like the other side of the Kenya. I mean, it is, let's allow Ruku to do his work like any other minister.
Just for the optics that now you're supposed to be apolitical. You as a cabinet secretary, you are going, even that perception that we have, I don't know if it is well with you that we should be having him flanking also the member of parliament elect, right? And having that particular optics being binged, that you're there, the cabinet secretary, the deputy president. I don't know what you will say.
What I'm asking...
Well, for deputy president, that's a different kettle of fish altogether, but for the cabinet secretary.
But I'm asking for him being from home, because I never saw any other person, because I saw him, I saw the governor, those are executive people who were there, and that is their county, that is his constituency. I mean, appearing at home, why do you want to condemn him being at home? So does it equalize, does it take a right for him to be at home just by virtue that he's a minister?
But you can't campaign for someone. You can't.
Well,
that's the law.
Campaigns comes in many modes, and it comes from the way you would want to view, So first of all, following up on that one, as we've agreed, truth to be said, let's give credit to IBC. Let's give credit. Remember, this is the first job they've come to do. With all these emotions that were raised before. Remember the campaigns run by the former deputy president there before. They're very emotive. I mean, you could even imagine yourself sitting in that a situation where, especially in Mbeere North and Malaba, I don't know for some reasons, and I think this is where we are going wrong as Kenyans and in the media. We elevated these particular by-elections to be a reflection of 2027. And it kept that perception and pressure. We mounted pressure on the way we were projecting these particular by-elections. So I want to give credit to IBC, that even as today they have given us results, they have tried. And in any case, for an elected position of a member of parliament, it's not a 50+1 required by the law. A win is a win, even by one difference. And that's what is called democracy. 65%, or 63% of 55 registered voters of Mbeere North. It's a plus. If you tally the votes of the winner and the second runners-up, it's more than 30%, 30,000. 30% against, or more than 30% compared to 55. How can it not amount to 63%? I mean, is it wrong for Mbeere North residents or electorates turning up to 30% as compared to the other side? I mean, sometimes we make some facts as if that it was supposed to be below there or compared to the other one. I mean, I want to disagree with that. That for Mbeere North, and the level of energies which have been put in place, the level of campaign which have been put in place, and the way you would see people turning out during campaigns in massive numbers, they were prepared for this one. And we should give also credit to those people. Yes, please.
Well, I would want to agree with Mheshimiwa, because I remember also some years back we were covering the general election, and I was in Kericho, and there was this particular constituency that had 10 registered voters. And they all turned up. In fact, people were being rallied about coming out from the markets to go and cast their votes, all of them. So it was actually the country, the 100%, voter turnout in that particular constituency. So this could be also the case in Mbeere North as well. For them that actually had, turned out and given that particular, of course, voter registration as well, it could be the same case.
Pre-marked ballot.
Pre-marked ballot. It's not been verified yet. those are
let's cast aspersion in our good institution when they are doing.
Can I also butt in there on Mbeere North and say, by-elections are not like general elections. By-elections attract a lot of competitions from the highest levels to where that election is supposed to happen, to the by-election. And I argue they're disruptive. That's why I think we shouldn't have them. But going to what happened in the by-election of Mbeere, the energy that was brought into that naturally will attract more attention from voters, as opposed to maybe an area where nobody's really, assuming, for example, that the deputy president didn't go, former deputy president didn't go, people are just told, just go and vote. Probably there will be 5% turnout. But now, I'm telling you, when the by-elections are happening, they are a test, they are interpreted in a certain way, that this is a test to what is going to happen. And I still really believe that they are not necessary. And I hope the makers of the renewed constitution, when we get to that, will remember this. And if I'm alive, I will be proposing that. And I'm not persuaded that the argument of recall that has been made here is necessarily, against what I'm saying, that we shouldn't have a by-election, because recalls can happen even in a system like where there are no by-elections. In fact, it's easier, because if you don't have to do a by-election to recall someone, it means it's the political party. It means it's the people who will just say, so-and-so, X, you're not performing. They report to the party, and the party recalls you. And once they recall you, you resign from the political seat that you are holding. I'm giving an example. In 2008, Thabo Mbeki was the president of the Republic of South Africa. They didn't do a by-election. They didn't do anything. The party sat and they said, the people felt that the president is not performing. The party sat and recalled. And there was no by-election. Motlanthe became the acting president and then appointed a president. 10 years later, appointed a vice president. 10 years later, Jacob Zuma, who was then the president, again, the party sat down and said, no, the country is not going in the right direction. They didn't have to go through all this process of recall. I don't know, file what, count how many people who voted the last time, I don't know what, get signatures, go to IBC, do what, this whole process. It's just the parties that sat down and say, okay, we're withdrawing our support for you. And then the president had to resign.
But it depends with the nature of the inter-party democracy. Right, which is
I agree, but I'm saying
a comparison of South Africa and
no, but I'm saying if you get the gist of my argument,
I get it,
that it is not necessary, given the history of Kenyans, that they are not interested in by-elections, that by-elections attract less than 30% on average, 30% turnout. They have shown us Kenyans that if we elected this political party or this person, we don't want to do that. Let's wait for the next general election. So I would still insist that that doesn't answer what I said. And then another thing that has been raised here is that the Mbeere North was not credible because of this and that and the other and the other. I'm a lawyer by training, and I can see where Harrison is coming from. because he's seeing all the legal blah, 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 the legal issues, the legal technicalities and so on, and very passionate about them. But any serious politician, any serious practicing politician, including myself, I would say those mistakes are de minimis, and he knows what I mean. The law has said many times.
Is a lingo, yeah?
I mean, they cannot.
Is a legal lingo.
Okay, let me just say.
Yeah,
the non-jurors lex, that's what they say. You cannot, they're small as compared to the results.
Trivial.
They cannot affect actual results. And there have been decisions of the court, in petition courts, many, that says these election malpractices, if at all they were there, either they were not proven or they are so small as not to affect the results of what was counted. You get? Like, for example, if you say there was oathing, you can't prove it. Or there were the sweets, you can't prove it. Or sweets were given. But then the range is 20,000, you know, as to the next guy. Even if you go before the court, they would not agree with you to nullify that election. But that aside, what I'm saying, I'm not thinking like a lawyer now. I'm thinking like a practitioner in the space of political leadership. There is no serious politician who can go and file a petition when you have less than 1.5 years to the general election. What you would do, you take those resources and sit down and start planning for the next elections. You would sit down, you review where were the mistakes, where were the holes, where can we improve, and you get your team and you start preparing for the next general election. You cannot go, you know, take money to lawyers now and pay huge, you know, bills. You are fighting for an election that, to declare a seat nullified so that you can have another by-election before the general election 2027. I mean, we are less than 1.5 years. So I can understand where he's coming from, thinking like a lawyer, but I want to guarantee him that very few, and any experienced person would not waste time with lawyers. They would say that money, if it is there, you'll keep it, call a meeting for my team, and ask them where were the mistakes, where did we lose the rest, what. So next time, if it is the ward, this is what we'll do. If it is a constituency, this is what we'll do. If it is the county, this is what we'll do. And that's what is going to happen to most experienced politicians. And want to say this again. On the question of security, I think the security team did well. But the biggest security, from my understanding and my humble opinion, is that Kenyans must agree that we are going to choose, first of all, these MPs are all our children. Women, men, they come from our place. Whoever wins, it's okay. This governor, these senators are all from our area. Whoever wins, it's okay. If Kenyans can reach that level of, thinking, then you will not see too much tension and whatever. I mean, I've been to all these countries down south here when they're having elections. I mean, you would not, you would not see what we are seeing in Kenya, you know? Even recently, when we had these nominations in Uganda, you go to Kampala, and yeah, people are doing their thing, but they are not fighting, and the tensions are not like the way we do it here in Kenya. So again, I would tell Kenyans, I would take this opportunity to say Kenyans, that all these are our children at the end of it, whether it's at the constituency level, at the ward level, at the county level, at the presidential level. At the end of it, we are all from the same country. So if you win the election fair and square, fine. Let us have you and see whether you'll deliver. Mm-hmm. If you win, if you don't win it, then I won it, then give me time. I also do, so that we remove this there's so much tension, and I don't understand why, especially where sometimes you can clearly see that a candidate cannot beat you, or a candidate cannot win, or you can't beat them.
Okay, let me come to Harrison and just ask, maybe on the security brief that has been there as well. And in Kasipul, we've seen it happening. In Better North, we've seen it happening. In Malava, we've seen it happening. Is it indicative that this maybe could be a bellwether of where we're headed? And how can we cure it? How can we, sufficiently address it before it becomes another tinderbox that is waiting to explode in 2027?
Thank you very much. I like the way you express it, tinderbox. It is. I'm very disappointed in my learned friend, Honorable Mungatana, saying, c'est la vie, let's accept it. We saw it, it's de minimis. That's not de minimis. It's not tiny, it's not small. This is what builds up and explodes, like you're saying, the tinderbox. What happened in Beira North ought not to be allowed. What happened in Malava, what happened in Magarini, what happened in these other places ought not to be acceptable by any means. And I must ask and even wonder, who are these presidential advisors? Who advises Ruto, legally speaking, on this sort of issue? Has he read Section 72, subsection 4 of the Elections Act? Let me repeat for him. Mr. Ruto, you ought to familiarize yourself with Section 72, subsection 4 of the Elections Act. It says in clear terms, let me break it down for you. You can be disqualified for the next election if we are able to trace evidentially, if we have evidence taking you to the center of anything that is happening, if your political party is shown to have participated in what is happening, you can be disqualified. So 2027 cannot be a guarantee for you. Part of the law. I'm not threatening. I'm not saying anything outside the law. I'm not asking for anybody to come from the moon and interpret. It's in black and white. Section 72, subsection 4 of the Elections Act.
So you're speaking to him in his capacity as the party leader?
No. I'm saying, I'm trying. Yes.
Yeah, in the
partly. But I'm trying to contextualize because I'm answering what you say, what you ask me.
Yeah.
Is it a precursor?
Just hold. Let him just finish his thoughts.
No, not the wrong direction. Is it a precursor of 2027?
Yes,
that's what you ask.
Yes.
And I'm trying to sound the bell. I'm trying to sound the warning
Hang
bell.
on. Just let him finish. Okay.
Yes.
He's perpetrating a narrative.
All right, just have his head, please.
Yes.
This is our country, all of us. There is the political class which Honorable Mungatana is trying to elevate and show that they have a superior right.
There is no superior right
in the political platform outside the law. And I'm saying there is an anchor. There is something that underpins you down to earth. Call the law. Article 10 of the Constitution, sub-article 2, talks about the rule of law. And it says in Article 10, sub-article 1, that if you do anything, whatever it is, the IBC...
The president was not on the ballot.
No.
Yeah,
No.
What is the problem?
You're the people who passed that law. Section 72. And probably they're unfamiliar with it. Probably they are unfamiliar with it. And I would advise them to read it.
You need to link William.
Okay?
Link
No.
with
I cannot leave it because you taste it.
Because you are bringing your boarding his name on this discussion.
I beg the bar. Yes. I beg that you read it.
Yes.
Check it out. Read it to your view. Section 72, subsection 4. And I was coming to Section 73. Section 73, subsection 1 of the Elections Act says that whatever happened, if you go to the Kenya law, you will be able to access it. Anybody can access that. Yes. It's online. The Elections Act. Talking about the Elections Act.
Yes, continue.
Section 73 should have been invoked by subsection 1 of the Elections Act, should have been invoked by the IEBC to say that what happened in Malava was sufficient so as to call off that election. They didn't. What they do is hold a press conference later on and say that, we have everything contained and we ask all the participants to abide by the elections general regulations, the Elections Act, the Offences Act, and so on and so forth. And the big question is, did they take action? The law does provide for them. What became of the Elections Enforcement Unit? The enforcement unit is the one that goes on the ground and looks, are there any malpractices? Register. So they tell you, you need to go and report to the police. But the IEBC is supposed to be recording that as part of the statutory mandate. And they're not doing this as a favor because they are paid huge chunks by the taxpayer. So in return, the taxpayer expects at least you should abide by the law. The section I was quoting to my good friends here is section 72, subsection 4 of the Elections Act. And whoever needs to advise and inform His Excellency the President, and he stands on a precipice if his political party is found to have participated in anything known as an offense. I'm not the one, hey, wait a minute. I did not invent that. I'm not making that up. I mean, it's in the law. And this is the problem that we have, that people go out there and they haven't familiarized themselves with the law that governs their own conduct in the political space. And this has become the bane of our society. And we are where we are and staring at an even worse scenario in 2027 if we allow this to go on. What became of the electoral code of conduct that they should abide by?
All right, let's hear from Mheshimiwa.
But make sure, that you access that. And so that they are disabused from the notion that I'm trying to, veer off
I'm at
the mark.
loss to follow Akili and holding that I'm not a learned friend like him. He started well, quoting the law, but the way he's messaging his presentation sounds a bit a narrative that he's trying to push, because I'm trying to imagine a polling center, a polling station, where we have an IEBC official, we have electorate, or an electorate who is going to vote, we have the strategic and strategic material, we have the security officer here, who has been assigned the responsibility to ensure that the polling center is safe for electors to cast their vote, to exercise their constitutional right. Where is William Ruto appearing in this particular polling center?
Maybe it's good to also just quote that.
Just quote the section.
So,
now, first of all, as you are quoting that one, I want to see where is the president in this particular polling center, maybe call to Luambo doing primary where I vote. Where is William Ruto appearing here? Because look at this. There is a commissioner who has made a statement, I think in Magarini, and he verbatimly stated the challenge they are going through as a commission, the misinformation and disinformation. And my good friend here serves as a good example of the misinformation and disinformation.
I'm not misinforming.
Why am I saying this?
Can we
in Malafa,
I'm not misinforming the public.
I've no doubt in the provision of the law. Remember, laws are made in Parliament. But we cannot use that law and perpetrate a narrative.
No.
Because in Malafa, I want to say, in this particular case, there is a matter here that happened in this particular station or polling station. No action was taken. IEBC did not communicate on this one. Other than when we saw one Banyakok wailing out and saying, oh, let this particular community take over, let this take, first of all, that community that is being mentioned, they never even inhabit. I am not sure whether they stay in Kakamega and they are part of the vote, unless at the peripheries of the county because of the coexistence. We saw one person in the wee hours of the morning, somebody coming out naked. And if you look at him critically, the strength is talking and smiling, yes. And somebody saying, I mean, later we've never seen a person in hospital. We saw some guys who have been taken to hospital, but he was not among them. So what I'm trying to say, let us not change this good discussion we are evaluating on what happened yesterday objectively, and we want to turn around this one to perpetrate an agenda as if to tell Kenyans that by-election happened yesterday was not the kind of the by-election the Kenyans were expecting. We must appreciate. Remember, IEBC Commission came in the other day, and I'm sure they are taking this one as a learning gap for them to prepare for the coming general election.
Let's do an analysis whether maybe he's trying to perpetrate also an agenda using the law as well. And this is section 72, right? Can I just begin from subsection 1?
Yeah, sure.
We contextualize it.
Yes.
Yeah, it says that a candidate who during a nomination or an election campaign engages in or knowingly aids or abets an agent or any person who supports the candidate to engage in bribery, violence, or intimidation against the opponents of the candidate or any other person under this part shall be disqualified by the Commission and shall not be eligible to participate in the election. Subsection 2. where a political party knowingly nominates a candidate who does not meet the requirements of the Constitution, the political party commits an offense and shall be disqualified from nominating a candidate to contest in that election or in the next election in that electoral area. 3. Where the offense under subsection 2 is discovered, A, after the candidate has been nominated to contest in an election, that candidate shall be disqualified by the Commission and shall not be eligible to contest in that election. Or B, after the candidate has been elected, that candidate shall be disqualified by the Commission and shall not be eligible to contest in the next election. Now this is subsection 4.
That's a crux.
Where a political party under subsection 2 commits an election offense which the Commission considers to be of a grave nature or continuously repeats the offense, the presidential candidate of the political party shall not be eligible to contest in a presidential election during the elections or subsequent election as a result of any vacancy in the office of a president where the presidential candidate knowingly abates or aids in the election offense.
Did I
as a party leader
yes.
of UDA?
Yeah, so I didn't invent that.
So can I...
The bar, you've read the law. That is in black and white.
Yes.
I was being accused here that I'm propounding.
Let him finish, come to you.
That I'm propounding.
Let him finish. Because now...
back to him. I think we are following a sequence.
He's the one who's raised this particular subsection.
Me, and then he can go back. I mean,
I'm trying to show the gravity. The gravity of what happened.
Just balance it. He's just repeating himself.
Okay, all right.
Well,
democracy.
Let them have the floor.
In the spirit of democracy, let's have the floor.
If he wants a shouting contest, we are very good at that. But here we are sober and we are trying to, and I'm urging my colleague, just be calm. Well, why are we shouting? I'm also saying this, and I'm saying very calmly. You cannot just wake up and say, there's violence here, there's what there, there's what so, let's disqualify the candidate. There's a process. There's a process. And he knows, like I do, like Kenyans know, that you have a complaint, you lodge it. And then you give an opportunity for the other parties to be heard. Like there was in the case of Kasipul. And then after hearing of the case, both parties were fined. But my colleague in the profession is trying to make it look like UDA, and it's only UDA, by the way, so that's why we are saying it's sounding a bit political. You know, why are you trying to talk at William Ruto? Because you know he's going to be our candidate. I'm addressing William Ruto. What is that? You're looking for TikTok, whatever. Let's be serious about this discussion. This discussion is addressing political violence and other election offenses and what the IEBC can do. And what IEBC has told us is that it can actually do it. People are fined. In Bere, they have not taken action because probably there were no, the necessary propositions, the necessary steps that were taken for them to be engaged. So how does William Ruto come into that? I think Kenyans, I think we don't need to abuse this space. We've come here.
Is that an abuse?
We want to analyze. If you say this is going to affect President Ruto's candidature or the party will be disqualified, then tell us there is a complaint that was made. Tell us IEBC has found our candidate guilty. Tell us our candidate has been disqualified. You know, by the time you're disqualifying a candidate, that's why I'm saying you don't need to look at this purely from the legal prism. There is the political reality. By the time a candidate is being disqualified, probably they have killed someone. It will be that grave. It cannot be that they were seen, I don't know, doing what small things that they are being disqualified, and therefore, because that candidate was disqualified, the presidential candidate is qualified.
So are you trying to say that there is ambiguity in what this particular act is telling us?
No, what I'm trying to say is that for you to reach or to invoke those sections, there are processes. that involve the fact that you make the accusation, you let the person accused answer those accusations before the tribunal. If the tribunal finds that you are actually guilty, they will fine you or disqualify you. And then if it is that serious, it will go to presidential candidate. But then I want to invite my colleague to tell us, where is that complaint? Who was he complaining? Who filed those notices? You see, this shouting and whatever is what makes people, it incites people. After it incites people,
inciting anyone by quoting
after inciting people, and they don't have any evidence, like the fellow who was writing and telling people, there was a commissioner who was given money, you know, and then present those, make the accusation, put it, he cannot, but he writes and then says, you know, this kind of nonsense must stop. Let's follow the law. And if you are a lawyer, surely it's basic. Make the accusation, the complaint, let us follow the law.
All right.
And now that we know that William Ruto was not on the ballot, who was he addressing?
Okay.
Other than trying to get things
let me just a moment. So would you kindly just elucidate this for us as well, this subsection, because I've read the entire, you know, section of it. It will be remiss of us now to just have read and then you don't really also break it down and tell us where you're disagreeing with him.
No, I'm disagreeing with him, number one, because he's trying to paint this picture.
No, from the perspective of the law.
No.
From the perspective of the act.
No, you see, he didn't just say, he just said section 74. I'm telling you, William Ruto, I'm telling you, that's what he was saying.
No.
So this is why I'm saying, as you read the law, follow that process and then bring in the personalities. If you haven't followed the process, don't threaten us with the law, my friend. We also go to court. We are there every day. Don't tell us you know more than us.
So from your own...
Remember also there is the Evidence Act. Yes. You must read together with that.
I agree. But from your own accurate appraisement of yesterday's turnouts or happenings, the skirmishes we saw in Beren North, you've talked about also the party leader of DP, manhandling one of the voters there.
I saw it myself.
You did see it, isn't it?
But what I want to tell you, listen, Dibal, because I don't want you to lose that point. That guy who was mishandled by the DP guy, the former guy.
The one who was donning the yellow...
Yeah, the one who was mishandled by the speaker.
In a red...
The speaker wanted to... He was actually holding like he wants to beat him up.
Yes.
That guy chose to run away. Now, he could do that. He could run away, or he could say, I'm filing a complaint. But he has not filed a complaint. Now, if anybody else was wronged during the process and decided to forgive, who are you to then just come and say, IBC is not doing its work? IBC is supposed to be moved to actualize the work. But IBC is an independent arbitrator in this case. IBC is the court. So you can't go and say the court cannot move itself. Ordinarily, the court receives the complaint. So if that person was mishandled, but he decided, wajana na hii, it's okay. So I don't think.
But is it in the place of a party leader to try and manhandle someone, within the presence of a polling station?
That is wrong.
In the first place.
That is wrong.
Yes.
But the person can decide to forgive. What would you say if he decided, I don't want to follow this?
Doesn't that really amount to a voter suppression?
There must be a
I'm just
the
asking.
Behavior is wrong.
No, isn't that also an act of voter suppression? Or what really? Yeah,
absolutely. When
we saw the other of, I think was it the MCA who was also chased away because was donning, paraphernalia or maybe a jacket that is depicting a particular party.
That is even wrong. You are not supposed to be campaigning or behaving badly in a polling station.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is...
Can you not just remove that particular jacket and go full steam ahead and vote if you're coming to vote?
Yes, it's supposed to be like that.
Yes.
But
So from your own assessment, what I'm asking, you've agreed he never reacted in the wisest of fashion?
Who, the speaker, former speaker?
Yes.
The former speaker didn't do the right thing. But also, the fact that the other person did not complain it means that maybe he just decided.
But isn't it too early in the day to say he did not complain?
No,
we don't know.
As
yes,
of now,
as we speak.
As we speak now,
yes.
You people who are on the ground, you are in the media, you would have put it as a headline. There's a complaint against the former speaker. I mean, if it was me, myself, I wouldn't, because I know those are just emotions. I think you need to understand something about us political people. We have thick skins, very thick skins. And it is rare for someone, especially during the time of electioneering. You can call me all manner of names. Tomorrow we will just shake hands, because I know it is in the heat of passion.
But
so I want to say this again. I want to say this
again. For my own assessment, I don't really deem it that to be, thick-skinned, because that is intolerance.
No,
if you cannot hold your own
but the person
in an electoral process at the polling station, and we can see outburst of emotion,
but that person
flying off the handle.
Okay, for example, if it was me who was being pushed by the former speaker, I would just say, mzee, wachana na hii maneno. I wouldn't even think about filing a complaint against him, because there is a way in which some things are very serious, like maybe stealing a ballot box, doing that affect directly the vote. But there are some things, umekuja kunisukuma or umenitukana or something like that. I mean, it's part of the process.
No, it can't be part of the process.
It is.
No, it's not. Because even in the workplace,
it is.
Yeah, even in the workplace, if I slap my colleague here, that is a summary dismissal.
Yeah,
there is no even, bones about it that we're making about you fighting with your colleague.
No, but
that's what I'm saying. So you cannot trivialize it.
I'm not trivializing. Yes. I'm saying if I don't file the complaint, what's your problem? If there's no complainer, what is your problem? If that person was held by the speaker in a manner that we all don't agree it's good, but he says, okay, nimemsameh, what is your problem? You see, so the only thing, I go to this point again, let me finish by saying, we as Kenyans must come to an agreement. When we are doing elections, let us just agree. These are all our children, and one of them is going to win, one way or the other. There'll be political contests. One way or the other, one will win. Let us minimize these emotional things, this bribery and whatever, to get the correct leaders. That's all I will say. Yeah.
Right, thank you. Yeah, all right, why don't we slake our thirst, then we circle back with more, and we take the conversation and take it around higher, looking at the optics that now we have the broad-based government, and it seems they've done a good showing in terms of just reclaiming some of its seats as well. Kasipul and Mbeere North, and we're talking also about Malava, which were very contentious, and everyone was training the apertures of a camera on these constituencies. We take a short break. We'll be back with more.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Omer every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, once again. Betty, I didn't know where this guy's going.
Walikutoka.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
I mean, you know, nakubali.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Fureke. Tonight, my name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Fureke is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Anyway, furahia umekaa na kasipuni. CP unit ni Punet.
So you guys knew about...
Piga.
Sawa basi. That will give you the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You'll have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m.
Next time you need fresh lemon juice, microwave a lemon for 7 to 10 seconds. Then roll the lemon back and forth under your palm on the counter. When you squeeze, you'll get more juice from the lemon with way less effort.
Start your day with Relationship Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Ann Odida. Dive deep into the dynamics of love, friendship, and family as we explore the stories that shape our connections. Then satisfy your appetite with Tasty Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. where Ann serves up
All right, the political chess board is in motion. We can see movements and moves being made on that particular chessboard right now. Results have been trickling in. We're eagerly waiting for some also to be announced, especially in Magarini, so that we can find out what is the accurate outlook as far as the winner is concerned. We shall be beaming those pictures momentarily as we continue apace with the conversation, just looking at the nature of the campaigns that there has been, and of course, as it has been, and of course, looking what does this particular results really portend for the political dynamics and the lay of the land as far as moving forward is concerned. Is it a strong showing for the broad-based government who have been fiercely, of course, fighting to make sure they maintain some of the seats, especially in Malava, also in Mbeere North and in Kasipul, where people were casting aspersions as far as the veracity of the nature of their commitment right now, that we have also the demise of the party leader of ODM that is within the broad-based government. We have ODM and the Kenya Kwanza coalition. We want just to take that particular crystal ball, look at it, and find out where we're headed as well in light of what the by-elections are telling us right now. But also clearing the air is how the nature of the campaign has been. And we're looking at Section 74 of the Election Act and also Section 43 of the Election Act. Maybe I can just read out some of them so that we can try also and decipher this. It says that a public officer shall not engage in the activities of any political party or candidate or act as an agent of a political party or a candidate in an election. B, publicly indicate support for or opposition against any party, side or candidate participating in an election. Engage in political campaigns or other political activity, or use public resources to initiate new development projects in any constituency or country, or county, I should say, for the purpose of supporting a candidate or political party in the constituency or county. 2, a public officer who contravenes subsection 1 commits an offence and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 1 million shillings or imprisonment of a term not exceeding 3 years or both. 3, a person who knowingly aids in contravention of subsection 1 commits an offence and is liable on conviction of a fine not exceeding 1 million shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 years or both such fine and imprisonment.
Can you also read the amendment to the Conflict of Interest Act that allows public officers, particularly CSS, to expound government policies?
It doesn't override these. It doesn't override.
So can you also read? Those are matters of interpretation.
No.
A law and a law you cannot say this one overrides this. Why is it written that this one is superior to the one?
It's about election. It governs the election.
You cannot
it governs the conduct of election.
Are you saying the only law that applies during elections? Why are you saying then the DCI should be involved when people are?
But what are you saying, Simmons? You're saying public policy.
You see, this is the problem.
Public policy is different from campaigning.
This is the problem. Yes. This is the problem. You cannot pick and share, you cannot just cherry pick what laws to apply. This is like picking one law, one line in the Bible and telling people from today you should marry 20 wives because I don't know Abraham had how many.
But this is the elections. We're talking about elections.
It is the elections, but the Elections Act is also subject to the Criminal Procedure Code. It's subject to all these other acts. If you commit a crime during elections, you are charged by the DCI. It's not the Elections Act. So you are taken to court by an ordinary court if you
okay, let me understand.
I think Meshmiwa is tongue.
Just a moment.
It's tongue because you see when they were amending, amending the law, they forgot that law is there. And they sort of like focused on the Public Officers Ethics Act, they focused on the Leadership and Integrity Act and forgot that Section 43 is there in the statute books.
Okay,
they wanted to exonerate public officers to go into the political podium and do whatever they want to do.
Fine, you've said your bit.
Okay,
you said this bit. Let me also say my bit. The only superior law in this country is the Constitution. All other laws, they are at par. And I want to say this again. Me and him and you and Mheshimiwa here, we may not agree. So what do? Go to court because the Constitution has said the person who has been given, the institution given to interpret, is the judiciary. So let's not make noise and work out.
But let me understand. Why then will we have legislators making law that countermands other acts that we do have?
Question. I agree with you
because it doesn't. To me, from my understanding, you have a conflict of interest bill, which, by the way, has been very controversial.
Fine.
Yeah. Even from the processes that it has gone through, the president taking it back to the National Assembly. Just a moment. So we have this particular section. Then you're saying, in the conflict of interest bill, they have a panacea that now the officers can do what the Election Act tries to, forbids.
So can I answer you? You've made your point. Can I answer you? It is not the first time that one law conflicts against another. When there is a problem, then the Constitution gives us a way forward. The Constitution says, it's not me, it's not you who is right, let us not fight, come to me. There's a judge here who will,
for us avoiding the pains of going through that particular route, you're so familiar with what actually we have this. Why would you legislate laws that will countermand other acts that we do have?
That's what I'm telling you. You're holding a very strong opinion. I can see, just like.
I'm just trying to get an understanding.
Yeah, but it is also.
It's not an opinion.
It's a strong opinion.
It's not an opinion.
It's a strong opinion.
It's not a strong opinion. It's what the law provides.
Strong opinion. Don't shout.
All right. Okay.
I can shout back, but it's bad manners. So I'm just saying. It is your strong opinion that law should take precedence over the other law. And I'm just correcting you that the only law that is superior is the Constitution. So you can hold your opinion, I respect it. I can hold my opinion, I respect it. And you respect it. Now, if I am applying this law and you are applying the other one, and we have a conflict, then let's go to court for it to settle. That's how our democracy has been built. You don't try to force your opinion on us. And I don't try to force your opinion.
But let me also ask.
In any case, as much as I'm not a lawyer, I will allow the two guys to argue on the questions of law. But as a matter of fact, what is the role of a cabinet secretary? And that is why that Conflict of Interest Act was amended, to provide for this person to speak out, because he's the policy holder. And there is a thin line between the political agenda, where we know the presidential candidate or the president for that purpose as an agenda to write, and that was a political agenda.
Yes.
And the person to hate him to implement is the cabinet secretary. So where is the separation in between these two laws when it comes to the cabinet secretary?
Yes.
Yes. Because how would you want to turn the role of a cabinet secretary to imply a political offense, election offense, where the law as mandated is part of his first line of mandate to run the agenda?
He probably can show us where the Constitution says that a CS, a cabinet secretary, is supposed to go out there and act in the role of a politician. Let them show us that. Because they say that the Constitution is the superior law.
Cabinet secretary is appointed of a politician who is the president. And
therefore,
the agenda of the president. And that is why, because of that conflict, because of those challenges, the Conflict of Interest Act was amended so that to give room for this person to have a platform to speak out of the agenda, to expose the agenda, to promote the agenda.
It's a wrong law. It's a wrong law.
Okay. Which one is a wrong law? Then you have a right to move to court today.
So why do we normally have?
Tell us it's a wrong law.
If it's being addressed by the Constitution,
you can initiate the process.
There's a court case. There's a court case on that.
Yes.
And therefore we cannot venture that.
Absolutely. So
let's allow them.
And in fact,
but we're not going to the merits and the merits of it.
Yes.
We just speak about it, because now it's actually here, and it's we're not going to the
If there's a case in court, then you should not actually be having this debate.
But we are not having
about the conflict. About the conflict.
We are not going inside and looking at the merits and the merits of it.
We are going to argue here and then until the end until the sun comes down. But I'm just telling you, if there's a case already on that matter, then let's wait for the judgment. Why are we cracking our heads?
On the conflict of interest bill?
He's saying it's
the one that's been filed
by... to court to nullify it, that's fine. In fact, it's very good. Kenyans are free to go to the courts and challenge anything and everything. So let's wait for the decisions of the court. But you cannot come here and say the section you are quoting is superior to the other sections of the law.
It has not been repealed.
Okay, what is the provisions from you have the Constitution there? What are the provisions that we do have as far as the cabinet secretary is concerned? Because for my own understanding also, they were supposed to be, apolitical. Maybe you can quote for us, you are the lawyer in the House.
Listen, the Constitution sets the general guidelines.
Indeed.
Right? And then legislation, it gives the details, okay? Honorable Ruto here has said that the law was amended. You see, and I've also, we also challenged Duale, Honorable Duale in the Senate. He also said the law has been amended, and the law was amended. So this amendment, you know, Dibal, you may not be happy with it. Other people may not be happy with it, but the law allowed confidently that the CS can espouse public policy, okay? Can espouse public. It didn't say you espouse public policy in day 1 to 2 or on this, or you launch public services on this day or not on the other day. So if the minister, and I'm saying, if
was he barred from espousing the public policy?
Even when you come to my county, you know, and we are in the midst of election, and I'm opposing you, and you are in government, I'm in opposition, and you are launching a route, I will come to that function. I will come to that function.
But not during the gazetted election period.
Even if it is during the gazetted period and you have come as a minister, we'll come to that function. Because at the end of it, it's supposed to balance out the other side and the other side. Government is for all of us, you know. So I don't think we should really be making a big issue out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, we can wind up on it and just leave it at that. But and I know Mheshimiwa is in a tearing rush. I'll be releasing in a moment. You will be with you at least until 9 o'clock on the nose. But I wanted just to ask you, Honorable Ruto, just given now that we have the broad-based government, as I mentioned earlier, showing a strong, of course, winning in all these constituencies, what does it really portend moving forward? Because there were bugbears and fears and doubts were being raised on whether UDA will clinch these things, especially in Malava, ODM, of course in Kasipul, that was a strong showing as well, but also it has been a feisty, quite a contest between the independent candidate Oroko and Boyd Were.
Thank you so much. First of all, I think to me, this particular by-election outcome is sending a message to Kenyans and from Kenyans. To me, Kenyans seem to be tired of divisive politics. Mm-hmm. You know, Kenya, after multipartyism, the evidence that has come out is that our political parties have been tied to either regionally or tribal lines. But then there are a lot of challenges that have come with it, especially the politics of exclusion. Looking at the outcome of this particular by-election, it demonstrates that Kenyans are demonstrating confidence or are showing confidence in a governance structure that is inclusive. And that is why they are comfortable with it. Remember the politics and campaign strong words that were against, but Kenyans seem to have assumed or have forgone or have refused to be invited to that kind of discourse and have chosen to support an arrangement where every person is on the table. Mm. On this week, as it on Wednesday, Oxfam was launching a report on the inequalities in Kenya. And if you look at that report, it worries that even more than 60 years after independence, the level of inequality is still advancing. And if you want to look at that one, you need to go back and trace after independence how governance and resource focus has been going, and the level of development that has been selective towards the region or the root of power. Mm. It discussed on the issues of the level of debt and the borrowings. And if you look at those borrowings and application of it in terms of development, it also seemed to be focusing on a given dimension, quote unquote, the political power. That is why this kind of arrangement seems to be taking Kenyans in the right direction, that the future politics, Kenyans are tired of that emotive kind of alignment that will be excluding them for quite a long time. The late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, and may so rest in peace, when he decided to cross over the aisle, despite the fact that it was a steep contest, he was a contestant, there was every reason not to agree with William, has changed the dimension of the vote ground of him, considering the kind of development that are being initiated and running on the other side. Look at coast, look at Northeastern. And that is why, even in Northeastern Banasi,
yes,
is it Banisa?
Banisa.
Yes. They demonstrated the comfort of supporting the president in the agenda of including the entire country on the level of decision. So to me, I think the broad-based arrangement sounds healing. It sends hope to Kenyans. And I think this is going to challenge the politics of the day. The arrangement of 2027 will not be as at 2022 or 2017. The tribal lines is going to die. Instead, Kenyans will be seeking to say, whom are we going to work with? How are we going to work with? So that we are guaranteed of this national cake. So to my opinion, I think it is something that we need to embrace, that we can contest here. But after the contest, after the election, after the results, let's sit down and run the nation together. Because it's our country, all of us. And if we achieve that one, the future politics of Kenya will not be as trivial as it has been before. In fact, all these shenanigans that we are witnessing now will die off, because even politicians will be at risk, because Kenya seems to be going their own way. We put all the resources, we put all our time, we weaponize people, we incite people, but Kenyans seem to be sending the wrong signal. The generation we have now are not resonating with the generation of yesterday. They will allow you to speak,
right?
But they will make their decision.
But the question we'll ask as well is, the center really speaking to the periphery, the current administration meeting the needs, the basic rights of wananchi. You quote the Oxfam report. And I will advance and ask a question regarding also the Global Hunger Index, which is very pivotal when we're talking about meeting the real issues. Should we be prioritizing on infrastructure? Should we be looking at the 5 trillion, shillings that is needed to steamroll this infrastructure that is talking about the building blocks to a Singaporean, utopian city? That is what we want to ask. But the question is, Kenya right now is ranked 103 out of 136 countries with a score of 25.9%, categorizing it or the situation as serious. And the score is a decline from 2016, primarily driven by increased undernourishment among adults attributed to factors like severe drought, high food prices. This is where we've heard him talking about also the price of hunger and lower purchasing power when you're talking about the purchasing power index of the common mwananchi at the end of the day. Kenya is at that particular hunger level. The score places Kenya in the serious category of hunger. And the contributing factors are all here. We know the politicization. What would you say that in all these empowerment programs, the infrastructure, the big talk about Singapore, you're unable to feed your country? You're ranked 103 from 136.
First of all, the ball, let's give credit to where it deserves.
We've slipped, actually.
Said, Mkala muwe akimpe. Prior to the beginning of this administration, Kenya was going the wrong direction as far as basic food is concerned. Remember the Sufuria demonstration. Remember the price of the flour. What you have to say today in the market. What I'm trying to say is that the opposite of what is being done now is to retain status quo and allow the country to go to thrift. But we must appreciate the administration that is cognizant of all those you are reading and is promising by taking a step. You cannot develop a nation without focusing on economic transformation. And there are basic elements of economic transformation. Number one is infrastructure, because you want to go to manufacturing, to give value addition, create employment, increase wealth, transfer funds to the pockets of the people, improve the welfare and the purchasing power of the people. Infrastructure has to come in. The issue of health has to come in. We say an healthy nation is a wealthy nation. The issue of food, which is a basic thing, and that is why subsidy, that's why the taxes of this country has focused on subsidizing production, and more so production on food. Right now as we talk, the price has stabilized, even despite the challenge of economic oscillation, the world economic oscillation. It's not only in Kenya, depression and recession is all over the world, but the shocks have been well absorbed by the policies that were made by the administration.
All right.
Remember, this is 30 years.
Thank you.
And it is in progressive trajectory.
Right.
So what we need to appreciate is we appreciate the challenge.
Allow me to butt in, Mheshimiwa, just very importantly, because also you're talking about infrastructure. And we know today also is a big day. We're talking about the launch of, yes. And we don't want to mix those pictures because the president is there down on the ground as well. And he's been talking about taking the country to that particular state of us being the first world country. And he is the president, of course, this picture is coming live from State House. Of course, he's just about to board the chopper to go and launch this particular road, being greeted there by the high-ranking officials of the military. He's now getting aboard the helicopter, and it's lifting off right now, of course, to go and break or launch that particular road. For many years, motorists and travelers using that particular highway, you've endured very torturous traffic jams, sometimes lasting for 10 hours. And I think this also will make such a discernible difference. There he is in his chopper. I wish we could get some, I don't know, audio, but is this in the chopper? It can't really happen.
What do you have to say about this?
Yes.
It is history is being written in Kenya that the main corridor, which is an economic corridor, the central corridor from Mombasa to Malaba, is now getting attention of expansion. This one will change the country because it's connecting almost 75% of the country from Mombasa all the way to the other side of the country.
Right, let's listen in. I think the president is giving some sentiments around it. Well, I was trying to get the audio there so that we can listen into what the remarks by the president. Remember, this is a very pivotal turnkey project of the Kenya Kwanza administration, and the Nairobi-Nakuru Mount Summit corridor already carries close to 40% of the country's trade traffic. Let's just listen in.
And when I made when I communicated the plan to the country in Parliament, many people thought it was a plan that was going to be implemented, I don't know, many years from now. No, this is a plan we are implementing from now. And in my estimation, we should be able to move Kenya from where we are today to a first world economy in 30 years. It is a reality that, by God's grace, if I get to 90, I should be able to see Kenya as a first world before I move on, and so do are many other Kenyans. So this is how significant that is, because we need to get Kenyans to know that it is possible it can be done, as I said. It can be done. We have, over the years, we have developed this notion that nothing can be done. This is how we are. We cannot do this, you know? And in the process, we have lost a lot of time. We have lost a lot of opportunity, and so many of our peers have left us behind. So this is also an exercise in catch-up.
Yes.
Yes.
And how will ordinary Kenyans feel the impact of this new road?
You know, everything I said, from developing highly professional human capital to making sure that we expand our education, we expand our agriculture, transform our agriculture rather, you know, to tap into modern irrigation, agro-processing, value addition, industrialization and manufacturing, to the construction people. And it's about not just us, it's about us and the next generation. Many of the other people who I hear talk about leaders the people who are focused on the selfishness of people and positions and the next election. And those of us who are focused on the transformation of the country, focused on what is in it for the people and how to change the next generation. So this is about people. This is about being able to home to work. This is about people. When we are talking about food, this is about how families can access food, how we can make living and livelihoods affordable. The whole exercise that we are engaged in housing. It's about people, you know. So my focus
tearing, as you can see it, because of course the chopper is airborne. This is bound to happen, and so we are getting intermittent audio and smooth pictures there. But the president is speaking quite movingly on a raft of issues regarding that Rironi Mount Summit Road that is going and is actually airborne to go and launch it, which is very pivotal. For the longest time, we know that 40% of the traffic logjam has been happening between Nairobi and Nakuru, and this is bound to actually be this discernible difference once it is began to be, of course, built. He is still having his fervid dream of realizing Kenya taking that position of a first world, and you've heard it saying that he prays to God that he may be very gracious to him, that when he turns 90 and is in that particular age bracket, he will be having, of course, the chance or the grace of seeing Kenya being the first world country. And we know this will mark such a huge difference in the agro-processing infrastructure here in the country as far as food security is concerned. We're talking about the Global Hunger Index, where Kenya has been ranked 103 out of 136. Quite a slippage from 2016. It seems that we are in the serious hunger category, and this will be a turnkey project and making sure that it is bringing that discernible difference as well. And of course, also a big resource for this special economic zone of Nakuru County and its vicinity as well. Right, we shall be keeping you posted as he lands on how that will be turning out. We'll be covering that for you as well as we concurrently also continue to look and keep our eyes peeled on Magarini and other constituencies where results have not been announced, and of course beaming that for you to sufficiently keep you informed on what is happening today. For that particular note, I want just to give the chance to our panelists to give their closing remarks. Then as I can see it's almost 9 o'clock, so that I can release you as well. We begin with you, Harrison.
Thank you very much.
Briefly, 30 seconds.
Yes. Now, we've seen the president there talking to us, talking down to us, telling us, you know, my policy, my whatever. Article 232, 1D. You probably can read it for our viewers so that they can see. It says public policy. You have to involve the Kenyan people. He's telling us, I want to take you down the Singapore lane. You never sat down with us. The Constitution tells us, consult us. He never did. Now, coming to the elections, the by-elections that I have, just about to be concluded. The tragedy is that if we as a Kenyan people blink at this, endorse this, whichever person is elected by means and within the context of that, violence, intimidation, voter or bribery, and whatever shenanigans that have been going on, we will have someone ascend and assume position of power, not because they have the electorate backing, but because that context permitted, allowed them to ascend to that electoral position. And by extension, what will we have? We derive the quote unquote, the output of that person, not the best person, not articulating what the common person on the ground really wants, but because they got and changed by means of that process that was tainted in the electoral process, then they will occupy the electoral position, not because they are there for the people, but because that process engendered and brought about that. We're talking about a poisoned chalice.
Poisoned chalice.
Thank you, Dibal and Kenyans. I want to appreciate the president for the bold and courageous move he's making to change and salvage the nation. Of course, the high priest of pessimists and rejectionists, eternal pessimists and rejectionists, will have every reason to castigate such a good move. Because what kind of public participation do you need than the stress and the trouble Kenyans who are flying that route spend their 2 nights without a place to spend, a place to relieve because of the snarl and the traffic blocks that happens there. Maybe someone who doesn't use that route will not appreciate the problem that is there. So I want to appreciate the president and ask Kenyans that any step that is made towards advancing and improving our opportunities as Kenyans should be welcome. The next move we need to be speaking about is industrialization, and we will have stabilized our nation. Kenya is a very resilient economy, despite all these challenges, but we are moving forward. Lastly, the issue of devolution. I think next time we need to come over here, we must talk about devolution, because we are getting a fail from that side. Despite that the huge resources have $1 trillion money going to devolution, and we still seeing the same challenges progressing, poverty still growing. We also need to have a discussion around there and ensure that we hold it our instruments to ensure devolution stands and works so that equity can be achieved across the country. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, thank you. The president also never addressed the devolution issue during the State of the Nation address. He was very not keen on it. You were there.
My appeal to Kenyans is that we must not treat elections as a matter of life and death. We must progress to a level where we select our children, our brothers, our sisters, without killing each other. And we must fight on policies. I wish somebody would stand and say, President Ruto, don't create Mau Summit route. It's wrong. Let us go and launch another route. I'd listen to that. Let us be tolerant. Let us build our nation. At the end of it, it's our nation. Let's work together. And one of the things I have really liked about the late Raila Odinga is the fact that even after elections, he used to come back during Kibaki, during Uhuru, during Ruto, and say, let us have a government that brings our people together. And this sets the tempo for bringing a nation so that the politics are less and the work is more. In Rwanda, the Speaker of the Parliament belongs to a different political party from the president. You know, it is in the constitution that they cannot dominate. The executive cannot dominate this other side. They have to share some of the positions. In Kenya, it is not official. My expectation is that in future, there will be a constitutional amendment. When we are looking at getting rid of by-elections, we should also think about making government of national unity a permanent feature in the constitution. So that even if I contest with you, Dibal, and you are elected, automatically I have 3 seats, 4 seats within the 20 seats, so that people don't see that this country, it's a matter of life and death. It's the ideas that must compete, and then we build the nation for this generation and future generation.
Thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate that trenchant discussion, very fiery, and of course, it's about making sure that we inform the public on what is really happening. Thank you very much, Harrison Kinanjui, Advocate of the High Court, also Julius Ruto, who is a Member of Parliament, Kesas, and Senator Dr. Danson Mungatana, Senator of Tana River. Thank you very much for coming through, and thank you for your valid company. Don't go away. Of course, Anne Odida will be keeping you updated on what is happening currently, doggedly following also the flight of the president down to Mount Summit on that particular huge tanky project that is about to launch. And of course, also keeping our eyes peeled on what is happening on the ground as far as the by-election is concerned. We take a short break. Don't go away.